All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Peace, power, and profit. Uncle Jocelyn. Hope you guys are doing great on this technical federal holiday, I guess, right? It's President's Day, and you have presidents or prime ministers or leaders or whomever, ministers around the world up in arms, right? So, again, like who really celebrates this day anyway, right? But I got, speaking for myself, I guess. Another day off, right? For most people, like, yeah, I got the day off, right? Get excited. For me, not so happy because markets are closed, right? I much rather the markets be open today, right? Let me get after some money. Let me make some real presidents, right? Some dead presidents, right? Let me get a chance to get some of these dead presidents out the stock market. But since that's not the case, we're in preparatory, what they call the preparatory mode, right? Getting ready for the markets for us tomorrow. Outside of that, today has been no short of fireworks. Pretty sure if you follow the geopolitical landscape as a market participant who's driven by fundamental analysis, this falls in the line of fundamental analysis. The drama has been nothing shorter than spectacular today, right? What do I mean by that? False spectacular. Essentially, over the past week, week and a half, the back and forth between America, Europe, Russia, Ukraine, whatever. Some ancillary conversations coming in through China, Middle Eastern regions, whatever. Everybody chiming in on the Russia and the Ukraine situation. It's been an ongoing, tug of war back and forth of trying to figure out, where the tea leaves are going to, fall when it's all said and done. Essentially, for people who have market vested interests, is whether there's going to be conflict or not. Because again, to that nature, that's your primary source. Not so much the diplomatic back and forth bureaucratic conversations that you're starting to witness here. Of course, just listening to Vladimir Putin finally speaks truth to power over his perspective, so to speak, and whether it's truth or not. He spoke it like he had a lot of conviction. He gave a very stark history lesson on Russia, which was very interesting. I mean, if you guys listen to him from beginning to end, he really gave a very potent history lesson. One that most people don't get on average unless you are a historical person who researches, which how information is. If you're controlled by a country's media apparatus in a way where it doesn't bring a lot of attention to things like that on average, outside of a history class you may get on the collegiate level, whatever. But he really dug into the crate, so to speak, right, on some old historical Russian history. A lot that a lot of people didn't know about. A lot of it been skewed. A lot of it probably ain't skewed. A lot of it probably just it's not necessarily the full value of what really happened. Who knows, right? But nonetheless, it was odd hearing a leader of a country speak in that posture. Again, he sounded very convicted, right? He was like, "Look, this is the situation," in layman terms, right? Hey, all this stuff used to be old Russia back in the days. Yeah, we know things broken up since then because of the communists, this and that, the third, but these are still our people in these regions. And now that these regions are now being puppeteered by Western, interests and European interests, it is now tarnished that link that we had with our our ancestry to a degree, because now these people think they're different, right? It was all good just a week ago kind of mentality, right? They smelling their own musk now, and it smells like Western, Stetson cologne as opposed to some of that Russian doo-wop, right? Cologne. That's the reality here. These people have been going through the civil war for years. It's only publicized now. Why? Because all the other stuff that's happening in the world right now with COVID and this, that, and third, and markets are destable. People who have a vested interest in keeping global commerce and markets, open. Of course, nobody wants war, but they're magnifying this as if this something just brand new. It just popped out of the bag out of nowhere. Like, this stuff been happening. It's been happening. That's the sad part. People who are fake outraged about it, They have no clue because they don't follow this stuff. Again, you know how this stuff go out of sight, out of mind. And the reality is that whether you're for or you're against it, of course, no one should be against bloodshed, war, carnage, bombs, nukes, whatever. But the reality that these people have to settle their own differences within their own right, then that has to happen. That has to happen. You gotta let people live their life. You gotta let people, iron out their own situations on their own. The role that USA plays in terms, this is just my opinion speaking here, just me speaking. The role that USA plays in terms of always trying to be the intermediary person between everybody's conflict, that trash played out, bro. I mean, you got problems here in America that are so, so larger than life, and they get overlooked every single day. Yet these people will amass money, raise money to go deal with somebody else's issue. And this is because there's a corporate interest in mind. There's a strategic, resource, value interest in mind. Again, it's comical. At this day and age, people still fall for the, well, it's still my side. It's still my side. I'm still, I'm like, no, get your bag, build your bag, get you some land, get you some sovereignty in your own mind from knowledge so you can move more thoroughly. I think that's the clear case here, right? Let me get the link, guys. If you want to come on, this is an open panel discussion because we're just discussing it. Again, it's linked to what we talk about for the stock market, but, just on a interest level, if you guys got, things, something that you want to add to it, here's the link, guys. Jump on the panel. Again, it's just a little snippet. We just kind of going in, right? Because we saw the markets, go through a roller coaster like it always does over the last 24 hours. It's just been crazy, right? We up, first we down, over 100 plus points. Then we rallied back 180 plus points, only to go back down close to near 300 points in the futures. Because everybody's so busy trying to literally, quote unquote, bet on war or no war. Again, the extent of the consciousness of people who act like they really care. And I say that meaning, on the Wall Street side of things, a lot of people who just listening in and, just kind of parroting the talking points, whether they, truly care or not. But we understand how war, is presented false equity markets, right? It's bullets and bandages, period. Right? You think just because a hurricane happens, should should Home Depot feel some kind of way because they're gonna supply the wood to rebuild these places, right? Or whatever the case. Again, from a place where we sit, we don't play the role of having feelings about certain realities, right? You can have a passion or a conviction about something, but when it comes to money don't care about your feelings. They don't care about your historical context. They don't care about, what you did yesterday or didn't do. It has a general purpose, and wherever the direction of it is going in terms of the hegemony of it, right? The gang value of it, then that's where it's going. And so we're just investing under those rules, understanding that there's certain things that we maybe or may not do, but we're there nonetheless. All right. So we got some family coming in the building already too. So guys, we're going to discuss this here again. The link is out there. You're welcome to come on, share your insight, what you may or may not, see within this situation, the extent of it. We're welcome to have you guys here. So we already got Manolo in the building, right? I guess
what's going on? Yes, sir.
What's going on, Manolo? How's you doing today, man? Peace, power, and profit.
Excellent, fam. Excellent.
So what's going on? What do you think about all this? The smoke here, man. It's been a while. What, 2 weeks? It's been longer, but for most part, for us market wise, it's been a while. 2 weeks in markets, man. What's your take on all this?
Definitely. Well, personally, I've exited most of my positions in the market. I was heavy into commodities just because I wanted to stay a little risk off and not really play that in front of a computer. Same thing for crypto. I exited all my positions. I'm not sure if you guys are into crypto, but
definitely.
Yeah. So I just saw, with so many things going on, both fundamentally, geopolitically, the debt market, I feel like we're super over leveraged in the debt market, especially with corporate junk bonds.
These HYG, what's the other one? I think the other one's IHSIS, whatever, the junk bonds. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And I just feel like, something's going to give pretty soon. This going on in Russia seems to be like a distraction to me.
Right.
Especially when you take a look at what's going on with Ripple, right?
Okay.
If you follow that story with the SEC and XRP.
Yeah, been very, been, imbued in that one for quite a while, even from the beginning, even if the pretense of it going back far as like 2018, 2019, there was always, hints of some point they're going to come for them, right? So yeah,
Right,
been
right.
definitely following.
But there's a lot of like weird things going on there where it seems like they're just kicking the can down the road.
As
And,
usual.
you know, um, and they're omitting certain transcripts from the old SEC chairman, just a lot of weird things going on. And so, like, if you look at what's going on with the threats being sent to Russia as far as them getting kicked off the SWIFT system, right?
Right.
Um,
And some people may not be familiar with the SWIFT system. Can you give a swift,
sure.
again, a brief, I guess, a swift, little synopsis on that whole scenario?
Absolutely. And fam, I don't know your name. I follow every once in a
African
while.
Emporium.
African Emporium.
Yes, you see it verbatim there. Of course, you probably see it
Um,
across different Discord rooms, Twitter, all over. You know how stuff go in the investment
Perfect.
world. We all kind of
Perfect.
link.
You mind if I plug myself in real quick?
No problem. Go ahead.
All right. I go by the Abundant Alchemist. I also have a channel with two of my good friends, Cypher Session, and we'd love to collab sometime. But
No worries. Yeah, definitely.
excellent. So, as far as Ripple goes, they're working on this form of remittance platform. I'm not an expert by any means in Ripple, but from what I understand, it's a platform that would allow different countries to have transactions, much like the SWIFT system that the banks use right now.
Right.
And if we like listen to the threats that have been sent out to, I believe, China and Russia, is to kick them off of that SWIFT system, right? So that's part of the narrative. The other thing that I see is there being talks of the grid being attacked by Russia, right? So I feel like this is just another scenario of they have the problem for the solution that they have in mind already in place, and they're trying to push that problem to occur. So
And
that
then when you say they, specifically, you're speaking about who? Russia.
well, I think at this point it's like much larger than just one country. If we look into, and I digress, I think it's like with not Charles Schwab, Klaus Schwab.
Right, Charles Schwab. Yeah, Schwab.
No, the guy from the Klaus is his name.
Klaus. Okay. I thought you were talking about the
so
gotcha.
It seems like him and his group of central bankers, people that have a lot of power, have their fingers in many governments worldwide. And the reason why I say that is
hold up. I think I have a little interference here. Can you guys hear me? Testing.
I can hear you.
All right, Manolo. I think. Okay, yeah, I think we lost his feed. What's going on, Sister Monica? Yeah, I think we lost his feed. He may come back in. It's President's Day, right? They even got the internet all jacked up, possible with all this. Right, there you go. Now you're back in. There you go.
I'm back in, huh?
Yeah.
Which is funny because, so could you hear me now?
Yeah, you diverting too many of those Russians, those seekers right now, man. They're coming for you. It's the Illuminati, right?
Hey, we really got nothing to fear when it comes down to it. I think they're the ones that are scared, and that's why they're playing these games. We know where we're at and where we come from, right? So when they were in Parliament, in Canadian Parliament, one of the representatives of the people spoke out and said, we should look into this thing going on with Klaus Schwab. I keep on calling him Schwab, Klaus. And
Klaus, I got you.
it's not the IMF. It's one other of these financial groups that I think meet at Davos. But so as soon as he brought that up, the House Speaker started saying that there's audio and video feed problems because I think that they were speaking online.
Right.
So it's real weird.
When they do the Davos scenario, this is doing Davos, right? Or you just speak to somebody in general?
No, this is actually when they were getting together in Parliament not too long ago in Canada.
Gotcha.
And this gentleman brought up the fact that it seems that this guy Klaus and his group has reached into many sectors of government in France, in Canada, in Argentina. And as soon as he said that, it seems that we have a bad feed. Great question, but it seems like we're having technical difficulties. And they just went on to the next one. And so I'll loop that around to what's going on with Russia, with the back and forth. If you follow the narrative, it's Russia is going to get kicked off the SWIFT system.
Right.
And you're hearing things about the Russians supposedly planning on bringing down our grid, right? That's one of the things that we're hearing in the news.
The cyber war stuff is,
right.
always a constant,
So what it sounds like to me is when you put all the pieces together, I feel like they already have this digital central bank digital currency ready to go, or they're so far behind.
The central bank as far as the Feds. Well, we know the America scenario is very close as opposed to any others, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. They may not even be so ready for it yet, but they need to hurry up because they see the technology elsewhere speeding up so fast that they have to catch up and deploy this thing ASAP, especially since the financial markets are on the brink of collapse, since, the only way to everything is like
M1, M2 money supply, this whole value within.
Yeah.
Again, it's weird too because they poured cold water on, the Libra project for a reason because they didn't want Zuckerberg to have all that power.
Exactly.
And we knew that, of course, he was already flawed anyway because again, he's peeping Tom, Junior. So that was one of the reasons why he's like, we couldn't give him that. He hasn't figured out how to, But anyway, go ahead.
So, all right. So if we just listen to what they're telling us, right? There's going to possibly be a cyber attack. Connect that with what's going on with XRP being sued by the SEC. And it seems that the SEC really has nothing on them, but they continue to ask for time. They're kicking the can down the road. It seems that they're just buying time because they know that they really have nothing on XRP. So you connect that together with the narrative of the US kicking Russia in particular off of the SWIFT system. Like we discussed, it's pretty much a system of banking between nations in the world. And now you hear the narrative of Russia possibly attacking us in a digital manner, right? So I hope that I'm wrong, but what I see coming is a possible scenario where the banking system would be attacked, and then a bit of chaos happening, and then them saying we have the solution, and the solution would be using the XRP system,
right? Well,
as a way.
Specifically, you're advocating for that. Of that, you feel like in that case, you feel like XRP would initially be bumped to the front of the line for us to be that monetary exchange value of currency that we use on a digital level, right?
Right. Okay. But that's like, we don't know when that's going to happen. I personally have sold out of all my positions. So I'm by no means am I saying for anybody to go in and just load up their bags on XRP.
Oh, no doubt. You know,
You
everything
know,
we do is opinion based. You know, this is not financial
exactly.
advice. Of course, we have a disclaimer down in the description box, so you cover it.
Exactly. So, but you know, I'm just keeping an eye on it because that could be a good play to get into. So we just have to be paying attention. And yeah, I think we are in very, very interesting times. I'm personally looking at short positions when it comes to micro cap stocks, you know, small companies, and short
Right.
positions when it comes to, you
So
know, these
you
high
you
yield
really you're more focused on taking down the small cap, the IWM scenario, because of its natural weakness in scenarios like this. Okay, makes sense,
Mhm.
and that's why I want to bring it up because we do know the red been underperforming, you know, a lot, and it typically is late, you know, to the party in most cases. About time, you know, the crap really hits the fan, it's already kind of beating the smithereens. So it's not really a whole lot
Right.
there because a lot of these stocks are just, you know, they're up and coming. They don't really have the moat. They don't have the money, the finances, the, you know, the longevity of business to really, you know, be sustainable as investments in times when, you know, the debt market is taking a hit. People are going to
Right.
flee from those, right? Because that's when they become very speculative. They sketchy in some cases. You're going to run to the stuff, you know, that are, you know, strong in terms of value orientated value plays that are, you know, more centered towards whatever that, you know, hedge may be it energy, be it, you know, utilities, be it, you know, a few REITs here, there, a few healthcare. So yeah,
Mhm.
definitely having a game plan is important. And we've been speaking about that very, you know, candidly over the past literally year and a half about when the crap does hit the fan, you need to be properly hedged. And a lot of
Right.
people, you know, that don't really understand that. A lot of these people that jump in the market because of, you know, COVID out of necessity that don't really have no true longevity in the market, don't understand crashes, ebb and flow cycles. They just jumped in with the narrative, what body dip on everything, and they're the ones going to get crushed because those are the ones going to be stuck holding the bag, which they're showing
Yeah.
to do that now. It was buying at 470, 480. They was buying it religiously and still telling people to buy the dip all the way down from 470 to 460 to 450. Now they're 440s, and they're holding the bag.
And
When,
something very interesting, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the Economic Ninja. He has a channel on YouTube. I follow him, and
I've heard of him. Yeah, definitely heard
yeah,
of him.
he was mentioning that a lot of the people that he knows in gold and silver have had a very, very busy weekend.
Very. And we've been following the gold for quite a while too, and silver, just precious metals. We actually spoke about palladium recently because palladium been outperforming everything, right? Palladium been kicking everybody in the teeth, not just so much for the fact that it has that, you know, Russian interest because they are big, you know, producer of palladium, which obviously makes sense in a war scenario. But you know, it has been secretly just, you know, ripping for quite a while. Even when the talks of you know, the ideal of interest rates going up, you know, a lot of these metals kind of, you know, been hit or miss. We know silver's still the, you know, the one that's really waiting to be exploded, right? Because everybody really want silver to break out. But you're right in that regard. The metals are definitely becoming a bigger interest now.
You're kind of breaking up there. I was having a difficult time understanding what you were saying. But in any case,
Let me see
family,
here.
it was a pleasure, and I'll try to come on a little more if you guys would have me. I'd love it.
No worries. If you see us live, check us out. Again, we having
For
bad
sure.
internet feed today. Who knows? It's President's Day, right? They jamming the signals, right? I got my tinfoil hat on. They messing with me.
Be safe,
Hey, we
fam.
appreciate you, Manola. Anytime. Subscribe, man. Look out. Anytime we go live, you're welcome on the panel, man. We appreciate you. And throw your
Thank you,
link. If
man.
you got a YouTube channel or a place that you hang out, throw it in the link, you know, in the back chat here or
Awesome.
on the YouTube, and we'll connect.
Excellent. All right, brother.
Appreciate you.
Peace.
All right. Yeah. So what's going on, Sister Monica, Oba, Chris? You guys in the building as well. Again, we just talking about it. You know, what do you guys, you know, think of all the fireworks that's happening right now? Of course, it's nothing that we wasn't kind of waiting on to happen, but it's here, right?
I
We deal
haven't
with it as it shows up. Okay.
I haven't really well, peace, power, and profit to
Peace, power,
everybody.
and profit. Over.
Um I haven't really sat down and got to look at everything. You know, I read, you know, a couple articles and stuff like that. I'm abreast of everything, but I haven't got too much information. But I did want to comment on what the brother was saying towards the end. Is he, you know, he's maneuvering out of certain, you know, assets, you know, for, you know, whatever he sees going on in the market. I think that's important, man. I really do. Obviously, um, what's going on with Russia and Ukraine right now. It's definitely a reality TV show. Hilarious. I do need to go do some more due diligence on it. I've been moving around. I haven't got to sit down and look at everything. But moving out of different assets, I think it's going to be important for these next couple of weeks because March is almost here. One
right?
1 week, and then you got to deal with them rate hikes. I don't know if people preparing for that. I'm not saying it's something to be scared of or fear or whatever the case is. But what happens with these rate hikes and with this stuff that's going on today is going to be important moving forward. Because don't the FOMC meeting is coming up as well, right?
Yeah, we got that coming up on the 10th, if I'm not mistaken, March 10th.
Okay.
So
So
it's the 4th or the 10th. I think it's the 10th. I could be right. I have to double check the calendar.
Okay. So we gotta pay attention to a lot of stuff going on right now. I find it funny that Biden decides to he gonna go out on President's Day and have a meeting with old Putin on his day off, so to speak. and
Yeah.
and try to get some stuff squared away. This stuff is crazy. I heard about some of the killings at the border, and I think that basically just started it off. I definitely was reading some of you guys what y'all was saying in the chat. Like I said, I haven't seen any videos or anything to kind of key in on nothing, but I just been following what y'all been saying, and little news articles that pop up here and there. Propaganda is also going to play a big part in this too. So we know how that rolls. But
right.
Moving different assets, jumping in out of things into new things. I think it's going to be prevalent now. I know for myself, I've been on the gold and silver train. Thanks to Oba Andre. And then getting into the XLP, the energy sector, financial sector, because those stocks are actually performing better during this time period right now than you will have in tech stocks or the S&P 500. It's $40 off his highs. So I do have a portfolio where it is. I did buy kind of high, but I'm just dollar cost averaging now. So averaging down, lower and lower, lower. So I think you just should be smart with your money at this time. I would definitely, keep some cash on the side just in case something chaotic happens and it's dramatic, and just be ready to put your money in. I would not be, super risky right now. I don't think it's time for that. I think it's time for, patience, observation, find out what's working, what you can get the best bang for your buck on. George Gammon said something that made so much sense. I don't know if y'all know George Gammon.
Oh, definitely know him, boy.
I know you do.
He go in on, boy. He go in on power them, boy. He be roasting the Fed, and rightfully so. Rightfully so.
He said, when things are expensive, that is a time where you should be just like sitting on the sidelines and not really spending.
Right.
So
Not
it's
trying to
not
prove
really a
that you
time to
Hollywood
buy
coat.
things that are expensive. Huh?
Not trying to prove that you Hollywood coat just because you got it, you can spend it.
Right. And then when things are cheap, that's when you tend to buy. And we all know, from observations, these stocks are too high. They're too expensive. Because, we know Fed money propped them up. They benefited from COVID and, all of this extra money printing and all of that. And, that makes so much sense, just on a basic understanding that these companies are too expensive. You know, get your emotions out of it. You know, whatever ties that you got to these companies and, you know, the people that run them, and, you know, even Elon. As great as Elon is, I don't give a damn. Your stock is a little bit too high. You know, we love your company. We love Tesla. We love what you're doing. But, you know, we got to come down a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
There's a fundamental reality that comes along with realizing what value is,
Right.
as opposed to a parroting narrative that, you know, I can buy it because I know the long run it will balance out at some point if it really does has a good business model and a growth perspective.
Right.
And in that regard, my thing is to that is like, okay, well, yeah, if you could get it cheaper, why not get it cheaper? Why waste cash now just to prove the point that you can buy it because it sounds good? Because over time, yeah, you will be bailed out and you will be made whole in that perspective of a buy. But you're just dropping liquidity at a time when markets are not really garnishing you that kind of green light, so to speak, right? But again, that's to each his own when it comes to the dip buy narrative. Right. But again, we do know that dip buy narrative is skewed a lot lately. It's been skewed very much a lot lately because the Federal Reserve, the narrative that markets, when you've had it great for so long, again, people fail to realize that there are times when you have to really put on your trading shoes and your investing hat and go back to some of the basics. Hence, when we talk a lot of this stuff about in training, about going back to the basics and kind of refurbishing some of the old, our old training sessions in that regard, is to keep people well aware that you got to believe, you best believe there's layers and levels to this. It's not always so black and white as you would like it to be from that narrative, because you feel like America's, markets are, again, the top dog, which they are from a market cap perspective. But again, what's the overall narrative? Buy low, sell high.
Facts. That's
not just buy the middle just because you feel like you can. And if you know that there's a lot of, ancillary fundamental, headwinds and cows that are there telling you, roll, bro. Too soon, right? That narrative, y'all heard that little saying, too soon.
Yeah.
Too soon.
Yeah.
But again, to each his own in that regard. But that goes to the individual, who really takes, the analytics to the next level, right? Hence, that's what we try to do here. We try to be very forthright in our perspective and giving people, a lot of different perspectives on how to really put value towards their money, and not just say that I got money, I can spend it. Like you was alluding to that regard, right? Yeah, people just spend it because they got it. Things are expensive. Why would you want to buy at expensive value just because? And stocks are coming down at dramatic levels, and it still seems like, oh, this is just too much, man. I got to buy it here. Like, do you?
No.
That's the question you really got to ask yourself. Do you? Right? And we are still yet to get a rate hike. We still, the rate hikes or hike, whatever. We still finished, haven't finished the quantitative easing program. That ends next month. They still buying right now. With inflation going up, they're still buying bonds and buying mortgage-backed security. Couldn't make this stuff up. People don't see it. And then that's before we even get to the elephant in the room, because we done spoke about over here several times. The big elephant in the room is the Fed balance sheet. We're talking about reverse repo operations. They're sitting in over 8 trillion plus over there, near 9 trillion. And that has to run out of the market in order for this thing to really stand on its own feeble legs. It's like the whole narrative of a boxer, right? And they say boxer with what? Light legs and head up top heavy.
Get wiggly,
they can't take a chin shot, but this thing gonna get rickety down there. That's essentially the market right now. Once they remove all that liquidity.
Yep.
Because again, they, we talking about PEs well over or north of 100 plus, over 50 plus, over 60 plus. Some of yet to come down. Some have come down.
Right.
But they're still overly over the value in terms of price of earnings on a forward PE and a natural PE.
Facts.
So, but again, that's if a person really, follows that kind of data point or not, whatever, far as what we try to do over here, we try to be equally balanced on all that. We're not going to just be, centric heavy when it comes to technical analysis. We're not going to be centric heavy when it comes to fundamental analysis. We're not going to be centric heavy when it comes to the psychological disposition of traders. We want to be balanced in all of them if we can.
Facts.
Like, why wouldn't you, right? Why wouldn't you want to be a connoisseur of a craft that you're professing, that you want to be in for years and years, and just take the approach that, no, everything about it, or, no, sell everything. And, you can't take the perma bear and perma bull perspective all the time. You got to be balanced. That's why hedging is universally the greatest way to survive markets.
Facts.
But to each his own. But I didn't mean to cut you with it, but that was I want to really, cut into that, because you will get that a lot, and people will get they'll get the misconception that, in the long run, I'm much smarter than the market in this moment because it's coming down, because I'm still able to buy the dip. But if you still have a narrative of understanding how to value things properly, right? That comes from education.
Yep.
Then you say to yourself, okay, well, is it really cheap?
Right.
Where maybe cheap off is what? Is Monster Rise that came out of last year, but ask yourself this. How much of that, like you were speaking to, is what? Federal money, derived.
Right.
These companies ain't reinvent the wheel. They
Right.
didn't invent, a cure for cancer. A lot of these companies that weren't even profitable. They're still not profitable. They still
Right.
got negative EPS. If you negative EPS, that means you're not a profitable company. Let that marinate. People fail to realize that. You got a $46 billion market cap and you still got a negative PE. Make that make sense.
They don't look at that data over. That data,
Boy.
that's too deep for them. Puts and
It gets
calls,
real.
that's all that matters. Not what the company doing in real time. They don't know how to separate the information. So, just like Kathy Wood crazy behind, thinking her stocks is undervalued. Are you crazy, lady? Like, you seriously, you got to be drinking the jungle juice with the OE in it.
And some Mad Dog 2020. Old school.
Yeah.
And a little doggone wild turkey. It's rough out there, man. And again, days like today, yes, we just speak about this broader market when it comes to Russia. I definitely want to get Sister Monica chime in because she definitely comes from
Definitely, yeah. She can go on. Yeah, she can go on.
And
yeah.
She definitely can, speak to a lot of that in terms of value, right? When you're trying to, really assess value, it's important to realize the value of fundamentals and financials and the importance of it. Because again, if you are a market participant, of course, you don't have to be a business or a finance, major perspective, when it comes to being able to break down the numbers, in the minutia, but you have to have at least a base case understanding how money works, in terms of valuations, in terms of, again, things that are, looking good, but not necessarily, not that great underneath the hood, so to speak, right? Again, the window dressing is ever present in equity markets. Why? Because people want people to invest in their company. Why wouldn't they, right? Buy their stock. Why? Because any hint of a bad news, they can what? Do an equity tap, right? They could do an offering, raise cash. And what can you really do about it? If you really like the company for wherever it's at, and they just borrowing against it. So you have to, bite the bullet and say, well, I'm long-term because I believe in the business model of the company, this, that, and the third. And before you know it, if it's a company who's really fiduciary irresponsible, they'll just keep tapping investors. Next thing you know, the stock had like a gazillion shares outstanding. The share price is basically going nowhere. And it's just, about to be obsolete because somebody else came in and stole their thunder. It gets real out there in these markets and people just, have to take that stuff into consideration. Everything, that comes to market, even if it's been on the private side for so long, isn't always going to be a slam dunk investment. It may even come out hot and then it may flop. That happens a lot, right? But whatever, be conscious in your situation and never marry these stocks. Never get emotionally connected to them. Realize that every company out on the planet, this is me talking now, every company out there is a pump and dump. If you take that approach, you'll protect yourself better. You'll shield yourself better. You'll be more cautious than just careless. That's the whole name of this. Again, it's about what? Being able to survive, right? Staying in your lane, building, brick by brick. At least how that brick was, brick was built, constructed, whatever, and you feel better about it. In this case, if it ever implodes, at least you've done all the work, ahead of time. And so that's what this is about too, in a lot of ways. So of course, just putting that out there, but to each his own, right? But yeah, so I mean, you dead on with that over, Chris, and it's just one of those lessons, right? You learn the hard way or you learn the smart way. And we tend to want to err on the side of the smart way because it matters, right? To me, it definitely matters. Right. So yeah, Sister Monica, where you at, Sister Monica? I know you.
I'm right here.
What's going on in your world? I mean, you come from that even the military side too, so you know how it is out there in the field. But it's just all the usual, right? There's a whole lot of smoke and mirrors, and sometimes it becomes real smoke. Outside of the Russia scenario, what do you think
Right.
about what's going on right now with all this this news, especially surrounding markets?
Yeah, well, definitely with the peace, power, and profit to everyone. Definitely to you all. And I've been laying low since the beginning of the year. Definitely fundamentals is definitely my thing. FinViz is my friend. I don't I don't make no moves unless
Nice.
I'm looking at those financials. It's kind of like what people do when they have to report their financial picture every year during this time. This
Right.
one in a room with a group of CPAs, and they was like, "Who tells the truth to the IRS?" And I was like, "Oh snap! I didn't know y'all be doing that."
Hey,
like they'll
hey,
change that
you know
and
what? And that's a very important topic because therein it lies in a lot of the hypocrisy surrounding America anyway. They got tax laws to benefit those who own assets. That's the whole purpose.
That's the
Yet
whole purpose.
people who don't understand those things or who are not initiated in that, they'll say, well, of course it's flawed. They're always looking out for the wealthy. They're always, doing tax breaks and incentives for those who got money. It's
Right.
just that they're benefiting off the what? The loop, or not necessarily even with the loopholes, the
And
statutory nature of how they're
available.
so imbalanced between those who have and those who have not.
Right. And it's available. And I was telling someone this today. I was like, I don't think they get they put you in so many. You just don't want to read, and you don't want to.
You breaking out, Sister Monica. Can you repeat that last part again? That was some good information.
Oh, hear me now?
Yes,
Hear me better?
it's a little bit better. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was telling that to someone today. I said, sometimes
You breaking? Yeah, it's like you must be. Are you moving a little bit? As soon as you get talking, it's like your mic was moving.
line is crossed. Okay, I'm gonna go out and come back.
Oh, you good? You good?
It's better now.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You good? You good? I'm sorry.
Okay. I said, I was telling that to someone today. The opportunity. They say the gray areas, but I'm like, the opportunity for you to get tax deductions is there as well. But you don't want to read. You don't want to keep up with your receipts. You don't want to document anything. So it's kind of hard. You want all the money all the time. So you want to do in a year, and then you don't want to count. You want the benefits as well, the handouts. You can't have it both ways. We gotta get one or the other. Leave the handouts alone, keep your money doing a year, or take the handouts and pay a couple taxes. Which one you want to do? But it's opportunity available, and I was watching some on Facebook, and it's this guy's blog. And he was telling a young man he wanted to buy this $250,000 car. And he was telling a young man, he was like, "Hey, why would you do that? Like, why don't you put your money in cash producing assets?" I don't know how many times we say that on this show. Cash producing assets, that's gonna give you money back. But like, why are we acting as if nothing's going on around you and that you can't make any money? That's just for the rich. That's just for the elite. There are only people that can buy real estate, make money from it, or buy a piece of property, make money from it, or make good decisions to make money, understanding what it means to make $1 out of 15 cents. But first, you have to give up the 15 cents.
Right. Again, it's like pulling teeth, right? The idea that people blow money very inconspicuously in terms of just when they're making moves throughout the day. Because again, like I've told people this several times, especially even when I was back in marketing. Every day you walk outside your house, everybody's trying to go in your pockets, right? Y'all hear me say that a lot. Everybody's trying to get in your pockets. Even before you get out the door, they're trying to go in your pockets. You got sights, you got sounds, you got colors, you got all this, these visual optics and smells and things, updates on your phone and, again, word of mouth, advertising. It's a constant bombardment trying to get in your pockets. Within that, if you don't have the value of control to realize the strength of, your economic situation as an individual, then you will be subjected to be the guinea pig of everybody else's their marketing or PR, campaign, because you don't have no brakes on, what you consider to be value, right? You feel like, well, I can work and I'll make it back, but you ain't really building nothing that can work for you. That's the difference. And money works for you when you learn how to work it. The only way you allow it to work for you is you put it in the fertile place that gives you that benefit, where you don't have to micromanage it every 2 seconds, or you have to punch a clock every 2 seconds for it to have what? Value. That's hard for people to accept that sometimes. For some reason, I don't know why. They'll leave a scenario like this after conversation, hearing this. I ain't got no money to get started, man. Again, they'll go blow $5 on something that they got at the house already, at the local corner store, right? Or whatever, right? Go buy a skirt that they already got one that looks similar like it, but this one has a button on the side exposed in the front of stuff. I mean, really, did you really need it then? Or could you maybe have bought the company, right? Bought Macy's stock, bought, Williams Sonoma or whatever, right? No, take that approach, right? Let it pay for itself kind of reality. All right. And that's the hardest part it takes for people to realize in this, is getting over that hurdle. Once they see that, maybe it'll be beneficial, but it is like pulling teeth.
and the pandemic made people think things are going in the fast lane all the time, and now that things are slowing down. And I remember you saying this a lot: due diligence, slow down, develop methodology. Know what's going on, learn the lingo, listen to a lot of different information, develop your own. People don't want to. People think that quick federal pump is what's going to continue, and now that none of that stuff no longer exists for you, and you're back to life as usual, or the way life is supposed to be, which is at a steady pace, which is the right growth, steady growth, that kind of thing. And you have to analyze the fundamentals or the charts, take some time to study. They're like going through anxiety, like, well, I gotta do this. Why is it not moving? What's wrong with the market? Well, nothing's wrong with the market.
Right. Everybody wants something fast without understanding the nature of how things work.
Yeah, like it's almost like it went over your head. Like, we told you, we keep telling you, but we talk too slow. No, we don't talk too slow. We're at the right pace. You were trying to follow the fast money that quick, instead of capitalizing on those moves. And I heard Chris throw out when Andre made mention of the gold and the silver, and he did. And
yeah, we were talking for the longest. I mean, we go back to I remember our 2017 moments on the Urban Economic Empowerment Show, and we was talking about crypto when I was making that kind of declaration to the country community, or at least on our side, that hey, here's another asset that we can look into. Again, this is the independence of being not subjugated to the system and this, that, and the third. For people who take that approach, you have complete control. And then outside of that, you have gold, you have silver, right? Again, the ideal that these assets can be beneficial because they are store value for what they are. It's like have your money be protect sort of to a degree, and the extent of how markets work in terms of cycles, right?
So let me ask you, since the whole war scenario and all that great stuff coming up, I remember when OEF had kicked off, OIF had kicked off or whatnot, and I was there, and a lot of individuals had gotten into buying a different currency, in that area. And I think someone asked the other day, I think they had purchased a lot of denario or whatever, and it was like, man, I thought it was going to do something. I thought it was going to move, in terms of currency. And so I'm thinking about now, like, would that have been the same or similar in nature to the fact of Forex?
Yeah, as far as currency, forex currency, or a currency.
Yeah, remember how?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a currency. Yeah. Oh, okay. For comparing currencies, right? Versus buying actual one, just buying it right out. You remember how they was buying currency or whatever?
Yep.
I guess in reference to thinking that it was gonna, I guess, go higher than $1. Maybe, I guess that's what they were doing.
Right at the time. Yep.
At the
But
time,
no idea.
So I know, like, some of my military buddies or whatever now, in reference to the whole Russia deal, I'm sure that's what they probably getting ready or thinking about doing as well, is buying, what is Russia's currency?
The ruble.
Yeah, buying the ruble, whatnot. Did you get into buying the dinero?
I didn't. For a lot of currency plays at that time, I was more, just to be, kind of, frank about, I was more, strict in terms of the commodity value of it, because the fluctuations of where governments, beyond we get into all the, the historical value, how these banks or whatever, that manipulate currencies, that's not deterring me from being able to, access some of these currency pairs. My thing is like, okay, well, on an aggregate level of building and being able to control better, that puts, you get more control when you buy either the paper coupon of gold and silver, or you just go buy the actual metal itself, right? And
Gotcha.
And it's still kind of, it's cross-connected to that of the currencies, in these different pairs, because again, within their, GDP that's tied to their currency, whatever they have false allocation towards, commodities, if they're a commodity-rich nation, service-based industry. Do they have gold reserves on books? Do they not? The whole issue with America, right? What happened to all the gold in Fort Knox? Whatever, right? Right? America stole the, the
Right.
Canadian or the Swiss money, gold, whatever. But you can monitor it, more thoroughly because of its spot price universally than a currency pair. However, these currency pairs do have weight, and they are great when you're able to capture them in their what their swing moment, right? For whatever reason, be it war, be it economic expansion, a boom cycle, right?
Right.
What that does, if another currency is
Right.
destable because they're in what they stuck because of political issues or whatever. So the forex market as a whole, of course, you have to be conscious of all those things and understand the nature how that environment works. So you can also be able to trade it in that. Now, if you're a holder of the currencies because you just again long term you like their evolution as an economy. Like when we spoke about emerging markets, like how long we've been talking about emerging markets, like for the longest, right? We ain't new to it, right? We were talking about emerging markets for like forever. EM, right? EM markets. All these nations that are still yet to develop, who are highly prized for all the commodities that's in their earth, they're just waiting to expand. That's why you got all the other nations trying to get in there, right? Meaning these companies trying to get into because they like the head count, number one, the amount of people that's there, and the resource in the ground that'll naturally fund those projects, right? You don't have to look far. You don't have to do a whole lot of export. So those are the markets that, of course, since COVID, they went on the shelf. Even when at a point they was getting ready to they were just getting ready to expand. They had to go on the shelf because of COVID, right? That pulled all that kind of extra funding. Everybody got tight. Let me just invest in things that I know that's solid. But that's just the nature of how that works. Because in that case, you say to yourself, well, who are some of the mega emerging market nations that that's going to boom once they really get a fair chance? And we spoke about some of that, right? Even some of the ones in Africa, of course, Brazil, right? Again, with the second world's largest soybean producer. Again, India. Again, seriously, like India is like everybody want to get in on India, right? All those people there. And again, you think about it, they say, okay, well, what are their currencies? You see what I'm saying? At some point, when the economic expansion happens for them, their currency is going to start to gain ground and get strong. Make sense? And that's how you take that approach, just by being, again, centric in terms of your fundamental analysis of how these things work, all these nations grow. You'll be ahead of the game, right? And you can take those approaches and invest in them just the same way you would, as you was doing like a stock, right, or whatever, Apple or whatever, right? And that's just being, again, intelligent about how you move your money. So again, you're right. Doing the direct war scenario, of course, what was going to destabilize region that was going to be puppeted by the American, bureaucrats, the oligarchs, and the private, organizations that got in there. You knew there was all this stuff was going to be pegged to the resource in the ground. They just like, that's the even exchange. We're going to take the oil, right? Yep. So when the economy started rolling back, of course, it's going to be, then we're going to somewhat, go tied to our peg it to our currency to a degree to help them get on their feet. Then after then boom, here we go, right? It's expanding again. And so, yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I know it's kind of a long breakdown, but that's a great way to look at it.
Right. I was looking at the chat. That one guy, yeah, he right. There are a lot of states that are paying for. I know some folks who I know in Louisiana, they're paying rent for 4 or 5 months right now. That I don't know who's paying the internet and the utilities, but I do know that there are programs in the Carolina where people are getting 18 months of free rent. So if y'all out there, your states
you
are
got the moratoriums.
Yeah, if y'all, I think they got rid of it on an individual basis and making you apply through these programs.
Right. The federal side of it ended, but definitely you can still do it through certain banks, through programs.
Right. Right. Yeah. So y'all out there, y'all might want to get it in if y'all need that kind of support. But yeah, when it comes down to that whole war scenario, yeah, I'm tripping that they over here trying to have meetings.
Right.
You don't play with food. Talk about you will have a meeting and then talk about he ain't slowed down his momentum. I say we always trying to show up late to the fight, and then we get a whole bunch of folks man down or whatnot, and then or folks getting injured because we didn't prepare properly. If we gonna go and support somebody, we need to be prepared as well. But we gonna get that late to the fight. And they gonna have all kind of stuff set up for us, and we're gonna have to get over that hurdle. And oh my God, if it does happen, you know, obviously, they ain't got nothing else to do, so they look like they moving forward. And if they do, I mean, been there,
you know,
done
as a
that one.
right, you know, now this is a good thing about, you know, the political side of it. Now, you know, they moved their chess piece, right, with the whole idea of, you know, obviously, you know, going ahead and giving Donbass their independence. Of course, that was the whole value what Putin did today, that declaration that we're going to protect this, you know, aspect of citizens in this region that are typically still mainland motherland Russians, which all of them are anyway, really. But they've since, you know, again, took on the ideology of the Western reality and the European side. And that's the whole conflict. We know it's bigger than what a lot of people think it is, right? This is just a civil dispute. It's been that way. They've been fighting each other. Ain't nothing new.
Yep.
It only gets polarized when people who are now under this, you know, this illogical utopian perspective of how life or the world should operate, because they just really think that it's such a, you know, a black and white situation.
Yeah.
These people have no historical context. They knew they green behind the ears, and they don't understand how none of this stuff works. So they want to try to browbeat people on how they think the world should react, and you know,
Yep.
and then they'll turn around and be fighting right in their own backyards. Like the hypocrisy is just like on level 10.
Yeah, we don't like this and we don't like that. Yeah,
Right.
like,
Canceling people for idiotic stuff, you know, supporting, you know, weird stuff. Like, again, America is so weird right now. I don't know what to break of this. You know, it's just the weirdest place ever.
I say I don't even think we know how we operate no more. When it really comes down to, you think about all this stuff. I'll be in your AO this weekend lobbying.
Oh, okay. You come to the they got someone for the VA stuff.
Capital. Yeah, with the DAV. We coming out.
Gotcha.
Coming up, and yeah, we coming from all the different states. Come and take over y'all little area. Well, actually, you know, all of the vets been up, you know, in the month of February is when all the veteran organizations come up there. So we following, I think we following the VFW and the and NASBA, whatever they call themselves, NASBA. We following them, and they follow the American Legion. I think American Legion goes in first, then the VFW and NASBA, and then us. I think
you already know it. You know, of course.
Yeah.
You know,
so
let me know.
Things, you know, on the first, one of the things on the list.
You're breaking up now. It's breaking up a little bit. Yeah, you ping a little bit systematically. Yeah, it sound robotic.
Oh, man. Okay.
This is a little better now. There it is.
Man. Okay.
There you go. Sound better now.
I was trying to say. Okay. I was trying to say one of the things that that's on the list is exploring how we get treated on the claim side. So African Americans. So we'll see how that goes. That, and we're trying to get money for spouses, whether it's male or female, whose veteran has passed, you know, has transitioned on, because you know that income gets, if not all, at least half taken away, you know, and that person has caretake that individual all their lives, you know, the whole veteran career and all that great stuff. So we're trying to get them some dollars, and those are like the high priority too. But we got 6 critical points that we going at. Oh, and the you know, the PTSD, the hearing, and and the toxic areas, those things. Trying to open that up a little bit more. And yeah, those are like the number 3. But we're going after 6 critical points. But we'll see how it goes. I'll let y'all know. I'll keep y'all posted.
more intent, you know, that you know, you have to walk away with more than you come there for. That's the whole point. Because again, we know that, you know, the reckless nature of policy, or not necessarily policy, but just what came on the back end of COVID, where a lot of money got dispersed to a lot of places. You know, it's supposed to went to all these institutions like the veterans and,
Yep.
Medicaid, Medicare, all these different things, and a lot of that money is still late to get to where it need to go. We even talk about the moratoriums and how they're supposed to help pay for people rent, and these banks
Right.
and organizations were just sitting on the money. The states were sitting on it as opposed to dispersing it. So we know the games that they play, right? It's no secret. That's why I say I just laugh at when people just get all in their feelings about America this, America that. I'm like, man, okay, you better learn how to become your own America individually, right?
Yeah, you better. It's out there now too. Y'all better go and get it if it's if you can get it. But you're definitely right. And you've been preaching that one. You can become your own stimulus packet. I know Chris like to say that a lot. Could come your own stimulus packet. A little patient, a little time, a little reading. Stick around the lingo a little bit more. Make some good decisions.
That's
It
it.
works. It works if you work it. I don't know the patience of learning is. I don't know. I said, well, you know what? I don't know
It's a
what
hard
nobody.
process. Yeah,
Mhm.
but that's what I've always said, and I've always stood on this square. And I say things, there's no such thing as permanent friends, permanent this, permanent that. There's only permanent interest. If people interests were really what they claim it is, then a lot of their actions would be, would be in demonstration mode, more so than just being in the conversation side of it. I think I am, I will at some point, but I really believe in this. And you still wait for them to get in the game, so to speak, right? So for us, a lot of us, we took that, that bull by the horn respectfully and said, we finna learn how to work it. We're really going to put it to work. Why? Because number one, it doesn't require a lot of you. If people really realize the power or the extent of how much time we waste in preparatory mode as opposed to actually work, grinding mode, you realize that, you got all that what you need, right? In a lot of ways, and then you give yourself credit for is just that people always want to wait for some kind of Big Bang Theory perspective to happen, right? Something has to happen, either catastrophic or something really good, right? And
Right.
all in the middle time, you could have been just building knowledge, right? Because it costs you nothing. It
Yes,
costs
because
nothing.
I think understanding how they mess with it with the pandemic and how everything dipped and then came back. I said, woo, don't have one of them moments again. But you understand why.
Boy,
Just if you're sitting on the sideline right now and you didn't at least try to understand that much, you in trouble. Like you're just gonna be in line. You're just gonna be in line with the rest of the folks and then be trying to figure out why we not tripping.
right.
You know.
Again, this for and for what it's worth, again, it is, you know, it's the community orientation of this that makes it great, in my opinion, because again, it eliminates all, the hecklers, all the naysayers, all the the antagonists, the pessimist. It eliminates all those people. Why? Because one thing universal we all trying to establish here is a better way of life, right, for one another. Well, in the pursuit of that, you have to be able to acquire what assets to be able to be in that
Yep.
position, right?
Yep.
Some people do it the traditional way, right? The contemporary way, if you want to call it that, right? Just work, right? Work at this point, the contemporary side of that, work, hit a paycheck, clock in, get a paycheck, be fine. Get the education to help you get a better pay, and that's fine. And eventually, maybe you'll come into the world of asset ownership too. And then there's other ways where you're starting to see the entrepreneur explosion where a lot of young people are bypassing all these, methodical ways of going about it, right? Or the old hook and book way of getting it. And they're just coming up with ways to to brand themselves, to find income producing assets and stocks and crypto and all the other forms. And they're bypassing their parents literally overnight
Yeah.
because they realize that, that old, square record, is not the same today as it was back then. So things change. Is that the whole point within this? Things change. You have to be willing to adapt and change with them. Not that you have to, but if you really want what you feel like the world owes you, you're gonna have to be able to, you have to step out there. You're gonna have to be willing to do something, right? A little different than the norm. And our aspect of looking at that is like, okay, well, doing something outside of the norm, and at least at learning how money works, how it flows, where it goes, the evaluation perspective, how to read money. Obviously, in this case, that's what you do when you're doing evaluation. You read money, the growth or the lack thereof. Those things people deal with every day as individual citizens anyway. They just don't
Right.
maybe understand the complexity. But you dealing with when you paying a bill, when you balancing your budget to keep your kids, fed on a grocery bill. If you're on a set budget, you're doing those things. You're managing
Yeah.
a small business inside your home. It may not feel like because it's like everything going out, but guess what? You figure out a way to get something coming in a little more too. Guess what? Game on. That's the difference
Yup.
here. So we're reading into those windows. We're looking through those windows and figuring out how can we benefit from moments like that, because no one can get in the way of us being able to collect that check. See what I'm saying?
Nope.
They can't borrow us from race, color, creed, sex, gender, orientation, education, no education,
Right.
criminal background, no criminal background, baby mother, no baby mother, credit score, no credit score,
Ah,
degree, no degree. None of that stuff matters over here. None of it.
I remember I used to watch those movies. They remember the people. They would be like not living in the mountains, but it'd be like in a country area, and they go outside in the porch and they read the newspaper, or they drinking coffee, this, that, or whatever, educated stuff. And I used to be like, why would somebody just be wanting to be in a quiet area and just read newspaper, this, that, whatever? So now I find myself sitting down in a quiet area.
Right? Soaking up that game. Soaking up that game. Right?
Like, yeah, that was important. Like, you should have been with your little, going through the list. Because by the time if you take a couple, you look at a company and you look at its competitors, and you go and you're looking at the financials, you look at the charts. It takes time,
Right.
so you need a quiet space, quiet area. You got to build up a tolerance for that. And I think that so many people has gotten into reality shows and things of that nature, and then YouTube has built up these different blogs, and so they done went from one entertainment from the TV to the
To the next.
social media, and and they always got to have something in their ear because they're always bored versus being able to process and comprehend. And so when you say something to them, they can't comprehend because you wasn't comical enough. You
Right.
didn't have enough humor
You
in
weren't
it.
vulgar enough. You didn't give it the
Oh,
way that you didn't
I
explain it to them the way that they just really want, as if the information has any less
yeah,
luster in terms of relevancy.
They just want to
right.
be entertained. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. So, but then in the same sense, they want to borrow. Oh no, we can't borrow. Like, what do you do? So I said to myself, like, man, I need to revamp a budget. I need to revamp a budget. Do some things a little different. Because the more you start getting funded from these different places, you're not paying attention. That stuff just slipped right through your hands. It's like, why
Yeah.
you want a budget? I'm like, why not? Are you crazy? Y'all anybody have me in no situation?
Right. Well, it's very nature that people just, again, don't want to get their finances in order for whatever reason. We all probably have had a value of financial immaturity at some points in our lives, right? Some people still dealing with it. That's how I look at it, right? That's about the most, I guess, applicable way I can put it, in a mild case, right? Financial immaturity. And a lot of that stems from, again, background, historical context, the situation, parents with or without, whatever. But what you end up realizing too in the end is that, yeah, those things might have been somewhat in the periphery, but they wasn't, the end all be all to stop you from being able to step out on your own reality.
Right.
Because again, this scenario has no way of connecting you to any of those things and holding you accountable for those, shortages, so to speak. Why? Because anybody can learn this at any aspect of their life, right? Along the other journey of being able to acquire other things in life. You do this in passing. You get
Right.
notifications all day from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. And guess what? You can have some financial stuff mixed in there too. Oh, forbid you get a financial update. Oh man, what's this coming through my news feed? I don't want to look at that junk. Oh, somebody just twerked on the Capitol building. Oh, I'm all in there, bro. What? Like, what is this? This is the extent of the brain cells of a lot of people, and it's unfortunate because, again, if they don't think it's getting real in the field, with every moment that you see the world starting to shapeshift, program to not program, plan to not plan, you have to be willing to know how to adjust is necessary too, or build up a moat. Mm-hmm.
Do you check it? Do you look into any of the companies that when it does come down to wartime situation,
Oh, definitely.
who's doing what, you know?
Oh, definitely. Anytime, of course, the prerequisites are always the ones that you definitely look for. We know it's just from being in the military, right? Because they travel around the military bases. Who all the companies that ride with the military? Northrop, Lockheed,
Lockheed.
Boaz Hamilton, right? Right? General Dynamics, right? The robotic company. We go on and on and on. And they become the players, right? Because our thesis is very simple, right? The bullets and the bandages. We keep that in the forefront of our mind. We'll never go broke.
Stay in ammo.
Bullets and the bandages. That's the nature of what's been happening since we can even fathom.
Right.
And that's the nature of men. It's weird when you think about it, because you go into war, you can kill people, but at the slightest aspect, there's a slight value of humility in out there too, because these people are still human. There's still that going on, right? I might have shot your head off. I'm gonna take you as a prisoner of war. By nature of the Geneva Convention, I got to pat your leg and keep you from bleeding out, right? Let me put this tourniquet on you, right? Like, oh. And others like, no, I'm just leaving it. Either way, it's there's a bullets and bandages theory or thesis in play. And when the thought of those things are coming into the natural order of markets, right, or being a thorn to markets, you can plan for those things, because you will say, well, what's the hedge against this? Well, obviously it's going to be defensive plays, right, because of what they offer. Now, whether you morally feel like that's nothing you want to do or not, that's an individual choice, right? But you can, right? Then there's companies who in the event that it does pop off, they're going to be the ones to do all the rebuilding, right? Of course, what we got with well, if you want to call it that, but that was a whole farce. The whole issue with Iraq war, when Cheney got in there, what game it was, right? They specifically set him up to succeed, right? With Halliburton, and they got all those government contracts, and he hired these, these man, that was a mess. But he made billions and billions of dollars off that, so there's a lot to go on with that, within it, so you can research and figure out, what a strategic, in this case, on the Mao case, just by the things that are universally affected by this. Of course, oil ripped today, right? Obviously, because the whole talks of this, right? It was up and down like a roller coaster for over the past 24 hours because all this news, right? It's in and out. And you couldn't make this stuff up. Like, man, these people are just all over the place. Literally, look at it over the last day what oil was. Let's put the week on it, right? It's just been all over the place. It's been, ripping, dipping, right? It's trying to hold base, right? But ultimately, the ideal of conflict puts oil in a very bullish stance. Why? Because Russia is a very petro-orientated nation. They're very big proponents of the oil market. Like that, you think about Iraq, right? If that area, was to get destabilized, what the oil price is going to do? They're going to rip. Everybody's planning for $100 barrels of oil, right? You got America pushing their narrative. We ain't even getting to that part about this whole Joe Biden, his, egging on this war for some reason, whether his intel is good or not. But again, just, for whatever reason, if it's distraction, they need something to distract from their, bad policies, whatever. It's a mess. But those things become universal, is my point. Oil, energy-based stocks, right? Natural gas. Again, Russia, one of the biggest natural gas, suppliers on the planet, right? They got pipes that go well into Western Europe, well into Western Europe. And they just did a deal with China recently. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. I know we talked about it. They just did a deal with China to supply them with natty gas. That's why him and President Xi are what? They got a bromance going. The West don't like that. The West hates that. The same reason why the West is in the middle of this issue with Ukraine versus Russia. As if all that didn't used to be old Soviet Union back in the old days. Not that these people don't have a right to have a different stance in life and do their own thing if that's the case, but we know it's deeper than that. It's a NATO issue. We know it's a whole strategic alliance. We know that, Ukraine's one of the biggest wheat producers on the planet, right? They got resources that the world benefits off of, right? It's always a resource. Guys, people kill me with this idea thinking it's on the principle of democracy. No, it's a resource grab, or it's a resource, they just pretty much, how would I say that? They're sitting back from afar, counting money that they've yet to collect. if they can get in and destabilize or get in and adopt or coax people to fall underneath their rule, it's always going to be about resources. Russia's still trying to figure out, who are their true allies, and if they're going to be the type of nation that they are going to the future, they need to have, allegiance and loyalty the same way that America, demands it from its citizens or its, people that it particularly, protects in other places around the world. Hence, while we got all these military bases outside of America, what y'all think that is? Y'all think these people just agreed just on GP just to have them there? They're there for a purpose now, right? They're there purposely at this point, right? Like, why would you want to put, anyway, but you guys get it. But that's the nature of it. So your investments have to mirror those kind of things when they're, when they're relevant. Because, yeah, you can make some money in the interim of that. You may still have a long-term thesis about other aspects of the markets and things you trade, of course, granted. But you always in search of alpha, right? You always in search of, in case where your markets may take a downturn, whatever, and your sector may get a hit, well, you can hedge, right? Or you could do nothing, right? You still got that choice. That's the greatest thing about investing in the market. You always got a choice. A lot of people ain't got that choice. If they depend on the job, they got to punch in every day. If they depend, can't get hurt, can't get sick, because that's going to take money out the house. When they trying to do whatever in life, right? They're dealing with other people. They on a people's time frame. Now you got to, as we say, a dime holding up a dollar, right? That human error aspect could be very it could be pesky, right? When you're trying to make power moves and other people just ain't thinking and moving just like you. All those things come along with being in those perspectives. And then on the investment side, you say, well, what are the only things I really have to deal with, right? Slow rate of information maybe coming through, power outage, maybe whatever. If your device ain't charged up and you got stuff out there, you just feel like you want to munch it. Very minute in terms of what really could be happening if we were just still dealing with, people who don't have the interest as you. Again, I deal with markets that trying to discriminate against you for whatever odd reason, right? This whole, we look out for our own kind of reality stuff. That's the stuff that a lot of people don't want to deal with anymore. Again, that's why you got more entrepreneurs now than ever. People find a way to make their own money. Content creation is like the new way to get it. Some of it may be a little outlandish, to each his own, right? But do what works for you. If it's granting you opportunity to make money legally and effectively, punch the clock on it in terms of your mental aspect, get what you can and move on. If that's the case, if it's just a seasonal investment, but nonetheless, you'll be able to tell whether or not it has roots or not just by understanding the model and how well people receive it. So it's not hard. Again, just people just make things complicated than it is, or they're looking to make excuses for not to try. And, we don't hold people to the fire whether they should or they shouldn't. We just keep marching and doing what we do, because what we do realize that, had we been in this 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, meaning like fully invested with the knowledge and everything that we have today, for a lot of us, you ask yourself that very basic question: where will you be today financially? It's not even negotiable. You'll be rolling in it, right? A lot of y'all, right? It's not even up for debate, because you understand how time and money works as an algorithm, right? Time over money, the greatest mathematical equation ever, right? Hence one of our t-shirt slogans, right? Time over money. Hence, that's why people ain't got time to waste, and they ain't got money to waste either, right? It's vice versa, right? So we just realized that, and we're just trying to map that out in our life, in our heads, get other people around us who value that, or our peers, and try to turn them into that, at least on to the understanding of how it works. It's still up to them whether they do or they don't, but at least they have options. That's all we're trying to convey. You got options. You're not, your hands are not tied behind your back. If you got $1 in your pocket right now, or 30 cents, now this sounds like an old, like a church moment. Come to the altar moment. If you got 15 cents or $1 in your pocket right now, we just ask that you come to the financial altar. You come with what you got, right? Be a cheerful giver. In this case, you're giving it towards your financial future. There's no intermediary in this perspective. You controlling the scenario here. You're putting in the work. You're directing and pulling the levers. That's what makes this great. Again, that's what makes this great to me. And that's why I love it. Again, if a person told me, hey, you can make $1,000 in less than 5-10 minutes in the market, if you just learn these different things like this, whatever, the first thing most people are going to say, man, yeah, that's crazy, right? That's a lie. It's a hustle. It's a scam. You're gambling or whatever. And they don't understand that it comes with a whole lot of strategic understanding. But now it's not even, up for debate. Yeah, that can happen. It easily can happen. So, hey, at some point, the light bulb will go off and people will see that. All these distractions, be it, Russia, Ukraine, America, Europe, whatever, destabilization of Africa, trying to shake up Brazil and the Indian market so they can control those resources in the ground. Of course, China making a land grab in all those Caribbean nations too, beyond just Africa. They want all, they want to be the control of all the resources on the planet. They doing a fine job at doing taking over a lot of those areas too for a reason. And people, act like this is, whatever, no big deal. Or at least they feel like they don't have the power to push back. Well, again, that's the nature of power. Power only attracts other power, right? And so, we just use that to talk about the whole Russian era. That's what that's about, right? It's a power move, right? It's a land grab. It's a, hold up, we're gonna, break up this little swalloway party that you guys are trying to plan here behind our back, or even in our face between NATO, America, Europe, right? Ukraine, Kiev, and all that. And Russia, like, bro, all this used to be ours back in the day. What are you talking about? Right? It's civil. It's a civil dispute. It's ugly because first thing people get to thinking about is, they got what? They got nuclear weapons and all this, and they can look, these people ain't ready to kill their grandmothers like that. I know it seemed like it potentially could happen, but they ain't that crazy. Because power loves what? Power. It can't willpower, beyond the grave, in most cases, right? Some people got carried on through their seeds, whatever, Kim Jong-un, right? Right? And his son, grandsons and all them. But outside of that, y'all know how this stuff works. So yeah, the threats are real, but they're not at the level that people amplify them. People want to be able to, live out, a fruitful life if they can. For us, it's the same narrative as investors because this is a growth machine that doesn't stop. Like money's being made literally right now. Like right now, money's being made, right? In some form of fashion. Some asset is still on the clock right now. Beyond that of the crypto space, we saw what oil did today. Oil ended up almost near 3% today. At one point, it was up, up above near 3%. That's huge on crude oil WTI. Huge. That's them planning for the inevitable. The idea that if this thing pops off, oil is gonna rocket. Right? That's non-negotiable. That's a binary scenario where it's almost what they consider to be a 99% probability. Now, if you was a betting person or you're a strategic person, why would you try to go against those odds? Or what would be the excuse to go against those odds? Besides the fact that you feel like, I ain't got enough proper knowledge or whatever. But we're doing this under strategic, analyzing and analysis, so to speak. That's the difference. That what separates a lot of us. So people can't come to us, you're doing this that way, you're doing it that way. We're trying to really put forth some really awesome brain cells to get to be competent in every move that we make. And that's what I love about this. That's what I enjoy and love about this with you guys individually, because we've all seen each other walk continuously expand. It tells you that we're here for a reason. We're not, we could be anywhere. We could be, on one of the platforms now, just going through the normal rigmarole. Nothing wrong with that. But for the most part, people are trying to get knowledge to kind of big up their pockets. And I feel like ain't nothing wrong with that. Right? What do you think about that, Miss Angie? I see you done popped in. Oprah Brandon, you popped in too. What's going on, Oprah Brandon? Let me get Oprah Brandon. What do you think about all this Russian stuff, man?
Like I said, when I interjected between you two guys, it's nothing but entertainment in the show. I mean, what like you said before, it's a backstory to everything. And again, this is just a distraction for something bigger, I believe. And then just to touch on what you said, Putin has that power to do what he wants. I mean, he could do it, but he's not going to do it. Like, I think Putin's a person who thinks for like the bigger picture. I don't think he's going to pull that trigger. all this
As far as
military
like the
practice
conflict,
and stuff.
the conflict one itself.
I'm sorry, what's that?
As far as like the actual conflict itself, like this whole idea of just full out war, going just take it, take it to them on the war side.
Yep.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, you breaking up a little bit. Let me come back in.
All right.
Hey.
You guys notice that the other guy said, "Can y'all hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me clearly, because I might need to. I know I
can
had
hear
my.
you.
Yeah, I hear you clear.
Yeah, it's probably me.
I was just thinking about the same thing. It's just propaganda and war. The talk of war always funnels money into the economies, and that's what they use it for. And these days, they could blow up a place with a button. It doesn't, they can scare everybody with the propaganda. But I definitely think they're just manipulating the markets with this, and it's all a part of their whole totalitarian police state and all of that stuff.
Interesting.
That they've been
And I'm
preparing.
gonna get into that too, 'cause I want you to go in on that. So I'm gonna let Brandon, finish piecemealing this scenario, because he was definitely hitting some points too in that regard. Like, all you guys always got some good points. I love it.
Yeah. I
But
only
go ahead.
cut in because he had come off, but yeah.
No, you good. No, you good. You good. You good. I'm going because I want y'all. I like to hear hear your perspective. I love it. Yeah. So, Brandon, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I can hear you clearly now. Yeah, you got it.
No, I mean that was pretty much it for me. I mean, like I don't think he's willing to pull that trigger if need be. I mean, like this is a debate, or this is a issue that can be easily talked out, and over over a lunch or a dinner between them two guys. But yet still, like you said, America want to stick their noses in between, these two, and that's the problem with America. America is just too in everybody's business almost. And again, I mean, I think they should, and then again, inside of me, I don't think they shouldn't. But I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right. It's just America's just too nosy, in my opinion.
Well, it's an instigation perspective that makes this place also, of course, the whole issue with the elections were what? They were being what? Interfered by what? Russian this, Russian bot, Russian this, Russian whatever, right?
Russian hackers and all this stuff, yeah.
Guess what? America just doing the same thing back to Russia that they feel like they were doing to them.
Right.
This ain't nothing new, right? Like, smart people know that, right? And they're like, oh, this is tip that. This is that get back, right? This is to get back for Trump. This is to get back for those two Russian guys that got prosecuted, right? For mailing the election, right? That was, hanging out with. This ain't nothing new. They've been doing it. This is, again, we really want to really go there. We know what it really is, right? These them old school historical wars that's been happening since forever in that whole region.
Exactly.
Ain't that happened just because America went on a colonizing campaign and brought their stuff to America and now set up another colony doing it here from across the ponds, they like to say. But they still having those small, those infighting moments. And when it spills out publicly, you see it at this level. And then again, everybody that have bought into the Kool-Aid of this, utopian perspective of illogical thinking that, this is just out of the, this is weird. This is out of the world, out of the norm. Like, people, they ain't picked up a history book ever, because they're just too convinced that everything is, mascara and TikToks and, and all this. Like, bro, the world is totally different. Yeah, granted, no one wants these things, right, in terms of conflict, but there are old things that have yet to been ironed out that were problems back then, and they're still problems today because they never got fixed. Hence, slavery, i.e. slavery, that everybody wants to overlook, to have benign neglect. Oh, just get over it when it's our situation. But when it's theirs, no, we got historical claim to this. We have, precedence, because this really took a bite out of our economy or our growth or our progression as a nation. No, we lost a lot of people because this, that, and the third. You see how that works? It's always everybody. I saw something listed the other day with Japanese Americans, obviously, the whole issue with Hiroshima, all that stuff, Nagasaki, all that stuff. They're putting up forth another initiative to make sure that America never forgets what happened during that war scenario, and the value of federal recognition or that of state land for more land or whatever. They're putting together an initiative right now. After all this has happened, they still pushing to get more out of their scenario. And keep in mind, they got reparations for that scenario, that war. And you got people who are still looking down in terms of, Black Americans or whatever, right? We know there's a civil war going on even in our community. Like, we can speak on that, right? The whole issue with people, mainland Americans, and those who came to the country, whether or not there's a divide there, because apparently someone is spurring it and making it more than what it really is. It's a what? It's a declaration or a claim. The same thing somewhat inadvertently what Russia's doing with Ukraine. It's weird when you think about it that way, but that's what it is. You're trying to get people to pay for what? Pay for the damage they've done to your situation. At some point, form or fashion. A lot of it can be skewed because there may not be a lot of truth out there, and people still have to do the research. But nonetheless, that's an aspect of what comes in the or I should say, on the back end of when these things become problematic. And it's to me, look, we know what's going on. We know, what it's about. People trying to collect wherever they can, or they're trying to form alliances wherever they can, or wherever they can find them, because the world is starting to consolidate now. Just like you see stocks doing that right now. What are stocks doing? They're being bought up. They're buying up a lot of smaller ones, or they're buying up competitors because they're trying to form Voltron, because they know going into the future they're not going to be able to compete literally on their own. With the level of technology and how markets are starting to really show, favoritism to a lot of stocks as opposed to others. That's just, I hate to say it this way, but that's a part of doing business, right? That's the nature of business. So consolidation matters, right? Hence Russia scenario, right? The whole issue with, again, Palestine, Israel. What's that all about? Yeah, we could be here for days talking about those things, but that's why this stuff matters. The information is key for us to realize where we fit into the bigger picture in all this. And number two, how can we also protect ourselves in moments like this? For us, our protection is just basically what? Hedging the moment. Figuring out how can we make money the same way they've made money off of us for years. Still to this day, they still making money off us. And no one wants to see that as a way of accountability, or at least try to get back some of that through their own ways, void of the same system that they had complained about. Like, I don't get it, but I get it, right? But we're here to talk about it. So, Sister Angie, where you at, Sister Angie? I know you're going into, all right.
No,
What's your take on
I'm
all
here.
this? Yeah, markets,
What do you
Russia.
think? They want people to cry for protection. They want to create that police state. It's all a part of getting into the robotics and the AI. And that's, it's easy. It's nothing for them to do that, and that's exactly, they're creating it. They'll make it happen until people find a new way to survive them, to respect each other by trading with each other and bartering with each other. Then if we don't do that, we're just going to be falling into the hands of all of their propaganda. At the same time, what we do with the markets, like you said, you hedge, you study and see, buy high, buy low, or hopefully something comes in the middle. But at the same time, like, I know I've done that with mine. I know I think I go too high, too low, and I'm not seeing any profit from it. So I have a lot more to learn as far as hedging goes. But yeah, that's all we could do. We have to know that we're the ones that create what's going on in the market, and then you have a lot of institutions playing like they're small investors or whatever. But I see a lot of, my sons, they're learning with pocket options, so they have their techniques. It's nice to see the young ones coming up on it, and they don't have those same emotions like older people like me might have, and they do well.
Right.
So we just encourage those things and see what's up.
And that's it, and then, so it's all preparatory perspective, right? As we like to say, right? Or preparation beats a pound of flesh, right? It's the whole saying with that. You got to figure out ways to prepare your situation. And especially if you got babies or kids or young ones, of course, we say babies. But again, you got to prepare them for something, because again, they're going into a world that's it's not as, of course, it's never going to be like exactly what your childhood was like. Why? Because of evolution and all the other things that come along with that. But there are some values within it that, of course, you don't want to, lose or not pass on. These are things that are going to help them be constructive in making good decisions, right? Because the world going to continue to do what it's going to do. It's going to keep trying to power grab, land grab. Keep in mind, a lot of this stuff is still being occupied illegally, right? On a historical level. And people say, well, man, you might well get over it. Now it's already happened. See, that's the narrative when people steal, right? Right? I already got away with it this far, man. It's mine at this point, right? The mentality, right? But again, not to get on the more soapbox, but it's just the reality of things. These are some things that you can control to a degree, right? These are some of the things that you can direct in a way where you have more control than most people who are dealing with the real rat race world out there, right? Because it's a very intimate industry, so to speak, right? It's you, the markets, an asset, whatever, right? Growth, no growth, whatever, right? There's no no police in play here, right? No one to block, right? Or so yeah, again, in regards to that, when you have issues like this, like you look at Russia, right? The Russian futures market, right? Y'all see on my screen right now? That was the extent of the Russian futures today. They were down as much as almost like 22% at some point. 22%. You see, that's basically $115,000 ticket right there. It was down almost near 25,000 ticks today. Let that marinate. When the last time y'all saw the SP 500 go down 10% in the day? Or maybe the NASDAQ. Like some of y'all probably like, man, look, not in my lifetime. I don't know if I even watched the market that long. This joke here dropped 20 today. And American futures were down maybe as much, maybe like 1.26%. And everybody's, the sky's falling.
Getting closer to my $100 strike price.
Right? The sky's falling. And these people dropped a whole 20% today. And you say to yourself, okay, well, at some point, yeah, after all the dust settles, what's going to happen? Are they going to buy this dip or are they going to let it keep dipping? Chances are on the future side like this, and this is tied to their actual country, right? Like, SP 500 would be like us or the NASDAQ. At some point, the dust will settle. Then, you may have people come in and buy it because the return to norm, right, has its place in a bigger ticket scenario like this outside of a small individual company that really is just dirt, right? That's the reality of that. Oligarchs are looking at this like, okay, yeah, when all the dust settles, I'm going to buy that Russian dip. Right? They don't care about all the other stuff. They care to a degree. The rest of that is like, can I make some money off this? Right? Can I gain a financial gain? It's weird when you say it that way because it's like, man, it sounds like almost insensitive, doesn't it? Because you start thinking about all the things that are in the ecosystem of what's probably happening here, right? Of course, it ain't full out war over there now. You've had, some bombings. You've had bullets sprayed thus far, so there ain't no propaganda there. We do know that stuff. There's been shelling that's been going on between Ukraine and Russia over the last few days. Buildings blown up, whatever, right? It's just been hidden, right? It's been hidden, but now it's coming out finally, right? But that's the fact. It's like they waited on Putin to speak. Now all of a sudden, let's release some of that footage now. And you seeing the buildings, all that stuff. But again, it's old school civil dispute, and it just spills over into equity markets, not just locally but globally, because these nations support that global commerce market through some form or fashion of a commodity, through some form or fashion of a service. We get it, bullets and advantages, right? Again, I use the narrative like what happened with Katrina, as awful as that was, right? People still living on houses, on top of houses, in stagnant water, and no help was coming. This is America. No help came for days in America. And these people had no way of producing income or whatever. Their whole world was turned upside down. Markets were still open. Home Depot stock start ripping. Why? Because the ideal of rebuilding the lower ninth ward became what? A big investment. Lowe's ripping. Ace Hardware, True Value, right? Caterpillar, John Deere, them stocks start ripping. Start going up, that is. Because they're going to be the purveyors of the rebuilding, model.
Reminds me of what they did in Puerto Rico.
With hurricane. Home Depot stock went to ripping. The biggest hardware store they got in Puerto Rico, they got actually got a Home Depot down there. That Home Depot, man, look, sold out, dang near everything. They couldn't get the boats down there fast enough to resupply that store for all the right reasons, of course. But still, that's commerce. That's business. That's you having what? A use case. Markets, again, they don't do feelings. It only does funds. Markets don't do feelings. It only does funds. And that's just a part of understanding how it works. It's ratchet in some cases. In some cases, it's great. All that stuff is, delineated between that of what the end user, the investor, because that's the great thing about it too. You have the right to choose how you want to invest your money, right? Like, of course, my biggest thing, y'all know, I've been saying this like a million times. You will never catch your brother investing in any private prison company ever. I can guarantee that I will never invest in a private prison company. I don't care what the stock doing. It could be ripping. I'm talking about ripping since ripping been ripping, right? I'm not putting my money in it because I know the consequences thereof of what it's doing, the nature of its business model in relation to me and my people. Won't happen, right? So again, that's the greatness about it too. You're not forced. You get to pick and choose how you navigate this large landscape, right? You can invest in the RTS. Call your broker up. Guess what? They can make that investment for you. They may charge you a fee, but they patch you right on through to the Russian markets, and you can Moscow Exchange, and you can invest in that RTS. Well, you can invest in America anyway. Most of the program platforms already carry it, but you can invest in Israel market, Ghana market, the CETIs, right? The South African rand. You can Canadian markets, TSX. You can invest in all these different markets around the world. Hong Kong Exchange, the Taiwan market, the Kospi, right? The Korean market, the Nikkei. You can invest in all of those from the comfort of your little cell phone where you are right now in your little respective place around this country. See, that's look, all right. That's power. That's a form of power. So, again, go ahead, sis.
How does this affect insurance and because of the controlled demolitions? How does it affect the insurance?
Well, that's the case. In the case like this, when natural disasters happen or war scenarios happen, insurance companies get what? Do you think they go up or go down?
They got to go up.
Think about insurance companies. Think about it.
Insurance companies, they have to make the payouts so they go down.
Okay. Exactly. The whole hustle with insurance is that what we collect the premium in the case of emergency. We don't want to have to pay out that emergency, but we got it just in case. See what I'm saying? If we have to pay out, that means we lose what? Allocation off the books.
Okay.
Right? Because the level of the damage, it depends on it depends on the level of the damage. It can really dig into their pocketbooks. Right? That's a depletion. You know what I'm saying? When you think about it, from that perspective, right? Organically.
I'm thinking about them buying insurance on like the World Trade Center before
now ahead of time, if you got pre-warning, like a pre-warning scenario, that's what they'll do. They will buy those stocks up because people will upgrade their policies, right? They rushing to get them policies in play. That's exactly it. You own it. So there's always going to be a yin and yang to every value of an investment, be it through competitor, be it through their business model, be it through something, right? So that way that keeps you balanced and knowing that this is not what, it could be great long-term, but it's still going to have cycles like everybody else, ebb and flow cycles, right? Just due to humans, right? Just due to natural, earthly, dealing, so to speak, right? Naturally, or just, from a humanistic perspective. And that's good because we're just becoming better readers of those things, right? So for me, I love it. Again, it just puts you in a position where you got the power, right? He-Man style, I got the power. You got the power, right? It's just where do you will it? How do you will it? And again, to the point where you can benefit, right? And it's not the end all be all because your whole world should not just be surrounded around the market. Yeah, you can make money here, then go start a business. You can, go, get your hands dirty in a hobby that you've been wanting to do for so long. There's so many things in life, right, that happens when you get to a point or place when your money is starting to work for you. Then you can go enjoy life. That's what people who, show themselves as people who are more controlled in terms of building wealth or assets, or who own assets. You see them in various places all the time and speaking the game. They're starting to do what they've been working hard, behind the scenes to be in a position to do, because now their money is working for them, right? Well, that's what everybody that I know endeavoring for right now. Anyway, you want to be in a position where your money's working for you, so you can still be free up to go do other things and not sit on somebody's clock for 9-10 hours a day, unless you choose to, right? You can spend that time doing something else with your kids, traveling, building on another business opportunity, whatever. Because there's only one you, right? There's only one you. Well, there are other extensions of you that you can program to work in your way, in your place. Well, what are those things?
Oh,
Your money. Your money.
making it while you sleep.
Thank you. Your money's ain't nothing but a robotic value of you. True story. It's all energy, extension of you. True story. What is it? Currency, energy. It's all an extension of you. You sleep, it's still working. You chilling, it's still working. You on a date, it's still working. You at the restaurant, it's still working. You hanging out with the kids, it's still working. You on the job, it's still also working while you working. Again, convince me how that's crazy, or that's a bad thing. That's how people get ahead. Asset ownership, business ownership, entrepreneur values as a whole. You got to leg up your opportunity. One way or the other, you can work and hit that promised land aspect too, right? Some parts of education will definitely leapfrog your reality. But then again, when we look at the cost analysis of what, leverage over liability, that's when that becomes relevant now, because how many people crying about student loan debt? Like a lot, right? The levels of student loan debt in America is just so laughable that it make you cry. You talking about people that got $250,000 worth of student loan debt, $300,000 worth of student loan debt, $100,000 worth of student loan debt that follows you around the whole planet. You can't even escape it geographically. They will come find you for student loan debt. Think about that. You can default on the house, bankruptcy, all that stuff, but student loan debt, you can't get out of that one. Ain't that something? You can't bankrupt out of it. They ain't let you out that student loan debt, bro. They come get you. It's crazy, right? But hey, to each his own, as they say, right? To each his own. For us, again, these little assets, man, are great information that we're getting because of, the world starting to kind of fight with one another, and these political leaders, this, that, the third. All right, yeah, been there, heard that, done that, read that, understand it. Okay. Right. Okay. Like, what's new? Right. So my world doesn't stop because their world is on standstill. I may recognize it, but in the same breath, I'm still building out my empire. Because a lot of times they're not stopping to think about yours. And it shows in a lot of ways, especially on a geopolitical level. Just the plight of, again, making it personal. Just again, the plight of Black America, the plight of diaspora, African value in it as a whole, right? Late or last to the dinner table. And a lot of the food is coming out of the backyards of these same people. That's the hard part there, right? It's coming out of your backyard, and you still late last to the dinner table. Like everybody, eat off the, Anyway. So again, hey, these little things are great because we're benefiting and we're learning exactly how the world works through our financial dealings. That's a win-win situation, if you ask me. That's a twofold win-win situation. You get to learn geopolitics, right? Monetary, value, the financial markets as a whole, global commerce, commodities. You get to learn all this cool tech, everything that's happening in the healthcare sector. You get to learn all this stuff in passing. You become an aficionado in all these different, industries by way of your profession. Like, where else is that popping? Like, you don't watch sports to figure out, what's the extent of the sports medicine around the NFL, NBA, unless you just have a natural liking for it. No, you got to see the player run up and down the floor, right? Period. You're keeping stats on that. You're not keeping up with how many gauze pads they're using in the locker room after the game, or ice packs, and right. Well, if you're a financial investor, you may be like, oh man, they're using a lot of ice pack. Man, this is a company that produce ice pack. They got a contract with the NBA the other day, bro. Oh, we finna really get it. See that kind of conversation. You tell that to the average guy that just watch sports and sports alone, that stuff will go over his head. Man, I don't know nothing about all that, man. I care about that, man. But last night, boy, Junebug dropped 30 last night, bro. Oh, bro. Whew. And they don't know you just made you a nice little bag off the stock that produced the ice packs for that Junebug to hit 30. Couldn't make this stuff up. I get excited about that kind of stuff, that kind of information. That's just me. All right. Call me a weird one, I guess. But I get excited about that. Right. So, for what it's worth with the news that came out today, right now, Ukraine and Russia, they still trying to, they feel it's this old civil war, matter of fact, what's the Russian national dish? I think it started with a P, something like a Pinir or something like that, some kind of name. Right now, if this thing, works out and there's no, it's a ceasefire or whatever, they'll be right back to being friends, the next day. Right. You'll see them just like they're right here. Right. They'll be doing that, that version of the the Reebok, whatever it is, the Ukrainian version of the Reebok. That's all they're gonna be right there. They're gonna crack over a beer, eat that little dish, get this some sauerkraut or something. I don't know. Then they're gonna be popping, but they're gonna be locking it.
That's how the footwork started off right there.
You already know it, bro. Like, bro, you can do that in the Sunday suit, boy. You make that thing look good. Hey, that's all it's gonna be, bro. They let them go through their moment, and it is what it is, right? But for the world of work, we just hope no life, is lost in the process at a catastrophic level. But at the end of the day, you gotta let people deal with their issues. The same. It's weird too, because people have an individual conflict with somebody, and the first thing they're gonna say is what? Stay out of my business. Notice that? Stay out of my business. When it's on a level like this, oh no, we need to be in your business. Why? What makes it any different? You think they want you in their business? Right? It's the same thing, but it's hard to fathom that. Why? Because you start thinking all the stuff that they probably got in their control, and you like, man, it may spill over though. That's about the extent of it. You think it's gonna spill over and mess up your situation or disturb your situation. So anyway, Sonny, what you got, bro? I know you went out and came back in. I mean, what's your take on everything, man? I know you kind of comment on it too. Sonny, you there? He might be, and it was coming in and out, so he might be trying to get his mic together. But that's the extent of what I got from it, guys. And it's weird, but I want to come on and add a little flavor to everything if I could. I'm sure you guys are watching it, have watched it, or have heard. We've been posting about it, of course, in our little investment groups. And some people are like, well, man, what's the extent of that? What it has a lot to do with the investment world, because we saw what it did with what it's doing with the markets. Right, markets are up and down like a seesaw. Up 170 points, down 160, back up 60-70 points, down another 300. Shows me that everybody's on pins and needles, right? Tell me that this money is not moved by these little conflicts. That's why it matters to us. That's the difference. The money in terms of where it's directed, in or out of Russia, in or out of Ukraine, or its surrounding areas, it's affected because of this, because of what they control, or whatever. Right? So, like we went over before, some of the biggest things that they produce in Ukraine and Russia, again, wheat, crude oil, natural gas, palladium. What else was it? Like something else. There's a couple other little commodities. These are major commodities, though. Major commodities. Like again, like Ukraine, like this world's second biggest wheat producer. Like all your little whole wheat bread that you got at your house right now, your little whole wheat, wraps right you got at the house right now, wheat grass in the backyard, like you doing the old health thing, all that stuff, it's obviously grown in America too, but it's really a big proponent of it. It's definitely, coming out of Ukraine too, if we have exports of it, or imports of it coming in. But yeah, it's weird when you think about it that way, right? But that's the nature of business, commerce, agriculture. Right, the whole reality within that. Exciting stuff, nonetheless. For me, it is. I get a kick out of this stuff. I just sit, and I get my updates on my phone, tablet, whatever I might be on. Right. And I just like, okay, all right. I just game plan, turn over a little information. I go right back to doing what I was been doing. Right. I just keep game playing and just update here and there. You gotta love that, guys. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's showing for me today. Maybe I'm just having my moment where I'm like, yeah, these are opportunities, right? These are opportunities to get you a bag. I'm not, pushing back against that. Right. The market was coming down last week, right? Well, let's say Friday, right? The markets were getting what, pummeled Friday, right? Well, we know why, right? Clearly, we know why, right? You look at the SP 500, what it did that entire day. Just back in the chart up here. I mean, just look at this here, like, yeah, we opened up, gapped up at 439, literally near 440 and changed almost, and we closed down. Of course, in the late futures, obviously, well, the extended hour at 432. But throughout the day, intraday, we still hit a low of 431, somewhere around about 431 on intraday. You're talking about my 8-point pullback, right? That kind of money, from pre-market, markets opened up, obviously opened up around about, 439, somewhere around there, give or take, went up there about 438, excuse me, and pulled all the way back to 437. So even intraday, that's around about 7 points. So you say roughly from 10 a.m. to 1 o'clock, literally to 1 o'clock, 11, 12, 3 hours worth of work. That's 7-point pullback. 7-point pullback. Somebody was on the job, pushing the clock, probably like, man, I can't wait to get out this door, right? You thumping staples, whatever, drinking coffee, hiding out in the bathroom, whatever, right? Been there, done there. Just the extent of that, somebody just made a ton of money between 10 to 1 on the pullback in the markets. They was on the road or head to the mall by 2, right? Or whatever, or doing whatever they want to do. Again, opportunities like that. All this stuff is, based in political fear, whatever. Call it what you want. Markets are still overbought. They're just going through the natural progression of, needing an excuse to kind of what, do what it does. I'll just say that. Be it long or short, it's just gonna go through the progressions of doing exactly what the market does. It prices in fear when it can. It sells greed whenever it can. It's wash, rinse, repeat. No harm, no foul. Bullets and the bandages. Bullets and the bandages, as we say. Right? So, yeah, until something changes, I'm going to, again, play the role of the hedge, right? Protect, myself from that of the downside. In essence to that, I'm making money on the downside because the market's pulling back. I'm trading into that energy, not against it. I don't have a point to prove because I know there's other things coming down the pipeline that I have to be cognizant of. There's rate hikes coming. There's the end of the QE, right? Then at some point we're gonna have a balance sheet run off, right? Possibly starting around May, June, July time frame. If they don't kick it off earlier, there's a lot of things that's happening in around the market that you have to be privy to and not sleep to. They have a person again at the job who's even worried about how they're gonna keep their job. They still got to deal with COVID, man. Not national COVID mandates, but if the private company chooses it, all the other stuff that comes along with that. Maybe slow growth because hours are getting cut back because production ain't up to the level that it used to be because of there's still a lot of other things that's still slow right now in the world. Hence, hint, wink, wink, supply chain issues, right? Again, it's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of moving parts. Who wants to be subjected to those things and those things only? That's the question I asked. Who wants to be dependent upon those things and those things only when you have the ability also to bypass some of those things or working in tandem to what you're doing and still protect your own financial situation, your own financial empire, meaning your household. That's what keeps us excited about this stuff and not in our feelings, because we don't do feelings over here. Well, at least, I speak for myself. I definitely don't. And I know most people on this panel tonight, and they don't either, because they like, look, all right, we get it. It's weird. It's ratchet out there. But if I can make me a bag, I'm gonna make me a bag. Why? Because they've been getting bags out of me for years. Taxation, discrimination, whatever, right? They've been taxing us for years. bro, I have no problem getting mine now. I guarantee I do not. If the market's going to provide it, it's game on. Right? It's game on. I'm not running from it. We'll let all the bureaucratic stuff handle itself. So, like for a person like, I'm pro this, I'm pro Republican, pro Democrat, like, knock yourself out, bro. Knock yourself out. To me, whomever is in charge at any point, people are going to look for a reason to lay blame whatever the market's doing, because we just figured out, we've been doing it, but for a lot of people they just figured out that Main Street and Wall Street are totally disconnected, obviously. But they say Main Street is a read for what? The GDP of a nation, right? Or the value of what, the country is supposed to be measured by. Well, we know ultimately that's not the case, because that cat's out the bag. They put a lot of emphasis in what? In propping and protecting the stock market than they do with what? The citizens. So at some point, somebody's gonna have to take ownership of that and work that in their favor. So if they put all the money in the stock market to protect it, then maybe you need to start looking and investing in some of the stock market. Then get some of that money back. Bada bing, bada bung. You take your political view, whether you passionate about it or not, that's fine. But for me, I'm putting it in the trash can. I don't care about none of them. Powell can go down, Kamala can go down, Biden can go down, to everybody. Look, I'm gonna get my bag. Right? If the market pulling back, I'm getting my bag. Right? Hate, like, love it, indifferent to it. I have no problem. No problem. Right? So that's just the nature of business, doing business. All right. So, but yeah. So, Obasan, you there? I know you. I guess still trying to get. He might be working. He might be grinding, doing something to that nature. But yeah, I just want to make sure I hear from everybody, man. It's been weird. We're sitting there watching the circle. We've been posting about it, of course, in the groups and having fun, in all the right reasons, right? This is great, guys. This is really great, right? I'm excited, just to see how this stuff plays out. Only because, again, it's opportunity here. There you go. You open that, son. You good?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm typing and doing a lot of stuff at the same time,
You
so I
good.
didn't want to make too much noise. How you guys doing? Peace.
Peace, power, and profit. So what's your take
Peace,
on all
Open.
this, man? Yeah, we just kind of going through the lanes a little bit, just hearing everybody's perspective. What do you think about all this Russian stuff and the markets and all that?
I'm gonna be honest. When I was listening to it, I was hearing a version of the Russian conscious community, like that kind of thing. Like say for instance, if you had the people that are proclaimed leaders in the conscious community that would have money or power or control over a country at a certain point in time, with the way that they act and the way that they speak, this is the same way that they would basically do is the same thing that I see Putin doing. Because the words that he was speaking was based on the history of his people and how it connects with the land and stuff like that. And this is why he's adamant about doing this. Like, it's no backing down type of thing. We can come to an agreement, but this agreement is still going to be predicated on the old school USSR. So on how it was supposed to be, not how it ended up. So in my eyes, he's going full-fledged with it, because you got to look at it. We see the news part of it. The news part of it is Russia's doing this, Russia's doing that, but they're not seeing that Ukraine has been setting up and trying to organize to be a powerful state for a long period of time. And now they're just getting, within the last few years, Russia has been really focused on it, and they're seeing it now. And now it's on the page of they're going to try to push the line to stop this, because if they let it keep going, then now they can proceed to go into their territory, which makes a big difference. Aside from the political part, aside from the stock part, and the real life part, if I get this part took over, my resources are gone. And it's a real battle, like how you were saying about resources. And, the propaganda part is cool, but you really have people that's actually out there practicing and performing different stunts on if in case this happens, or if in case we do go out there. So I don't know. I just was looking on that page.
No, but you're right. Again, that perspective, a lot of it is Again, that was kind of what I was saying too. A lot of it's more civil than we make it to be. It's polarized because again, we're looking at it from the comfort of our existence, or what we may know from a social dichotomy that we live underneath right here in America, right? The ideal of what the privileges that we feel like we have, which gives us a perspective to speak in the way that we speak, right? In a lot of nations where that's not even you can't even dare even open your mouth and say certain things like that because of the ramifications, which is odd in itself. Because you say, well, I'm a free will being of the planet. I should be able to kind of move and whatever. But we know again, old historical precedent still sets, the template for a lot of people how they think, right? Their morals, the norms, right? The whole nine, values, whatever. So yeah, it gets a little shaky out there, right? And so when you look at it from again your seat and say, well, they need to be doing things like this, they should be thinking like this, they should be acting like that. Well, you're doing that from a place of what? Think about that, right? Propaganda to a degree, because you feel like it has to be conducive to what you feel like is good for you, as opposed to what you may think, what they may even really truly think, despite what it looks like visually, right? The optics may look kind of like, this look ratchet, right? This look a little ragged. Some people just comfortable in their situation, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. The hardest part is not being able to pass judgment. It's hard not to. Again, that's human. That's a human flaw. It's hard not to pass judgment when we see certain things. Now, we know some things are just universally just horrific. And you say, no matter what it is, I ain't buying that. That's ratchet. This, that, and the third, right? That just violates all rules of just humanistic, value on a base case level. And then there's other things that are that's a little bit more complex, right? And so we see these things and we say, okay, well, yeah, given this, given that, given this, given that, yeah. But they're all subject to change. We get that too, right? But that's the great thing about, human condition too. You have the ability to change your outlook or your perspective based upon further information, based upon further inflection, right? Either way, you have that right to do so. It shows a form of growth and maturity, right? And it's okay not to be right all the time, or look to be right all the time, or try to be right all the time. Because again, you may lose focus in a real moment just by being great, good at observing, as opposed to, just kind of going in on something, but nonetheless, again, I like that because we're more centered towards, research methodology. So we want to put in the time to research. We want to look at the world from a very objective perspective when necessary, be open to, the critical analysis in that regard, so we can make better informed decisions, void of human emotion, much as possible. And it's okay to have human emotion and passion for certain things too. But when it comes to executive-minded decisions in terms of investments, an investment thesis, or just dealing with the building blocks that are laid before you, you got to move and think like a what? Like a businessman or a businesswoman. Again, ain't nothing wrong with that. Extensive to putting your money to work from you based upon the rules of engagement, I'm all for it. Why? Because again, the ability to, to capture resources, money, whatever, by dealing with these things, on I don't know, maybe a case by case basis, then so be it. I mean, I'm in this profession for that reason, right? I'm in this for that reason. And it just happened to provide us a no ceiling opportunity. No ceiling. Make what you can all till you can take. If you're in a position to what? Perform properly and thoroughly as an executive that knows how to read between the lines, essentially. It's weird too, because I was looking at some of the profit hauls came out of the market Friday when the market was pulling back. And it was just crazy all over the Discord rooms, different groups, investment Twitter, all the different places where I know people I hang out, that follow the same lanes we do. And I just saw crazy numbers, like, I saw some, 6-figure payouts, 5-digit payouts. Of course, there's bigger money that was made ahead of that, but just within some of my circles, I should say, thousands of dollars that were made. Of course, I did my little thing. And many of you guys did y'all thing too. And you say to yourself, man, look, okay, we were able to do that under these conditions, under these rules of engagement. under this time restraint, under this, aspect of news or whatever. Ultimately, you say to yourself, all we did was just what? Utilize time to our benefit. We utilize time and information to our benefit. Time and money, right? Or time and information, excuse me, to our benefit that equal, money or profit or payout. I mean, what's frustrating or what's hard about that? Right? What's odd about that? Right? Again, that's putting you in control, the control narrative. So the one thing that you got now is that the West feels like they're not in control of the situation because it further puts, I don't know, maybe a divide on their perspective of being able to wield democracy in their eyes the way that they feel like they want to, and on a strategic level, whether that disrupt some form of a resource in or out of America, or some alliance for or against America, it's always a vested interest. So you got to look at it from that perspective. Of course, this is my opinion, speaking for myself here. That's how you never get connected to all this other stuff, or emotionally compromised, I should say, into the propaganda. Because their vested interest, if it really doesn't really even benefit you tangibly, or maybe on a back end where you can see the benefit of it, then don't get sucked in. Because these people are trying to leverage something. They're trying to leverage something. Smart people who study this stuff, they know what it really is. It's deeper than what it really is. Like the whole issue with NATO and all that, and the expansion, and Europe don't want to get caught in the middle, especially Germany. Germany don't really want no parts of this because they're bigger. They're what? They're a consumer of what? Russian resources. They don't want to be in the middle of this. As much as they're being forced because of other people. Like, look, look, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna let y'all deal with that. I'm gonna go cook me some wiener schnitzel or something. Boil me some sauerkraut. I ain't got time for all this here, right? I need that natural gas coming through them pipes, right? From Russia, So yeah, again, it's always deeper, and it depends on where you are on the planet. From your couch, how you looking at this, right? For me, again, I just keep it very simple. I keep it very simple. As odd as to say it this way, but where is the benefit financially in markets? If the market's going to throw a hissy fit and sell off, that's a benefit. Because you can make money going up and you make money coming down. One way or the other, the benefit is not so much in the moral value of thinking about it that way, but it's an idea that I'm hedging against my long positions. That's just the reality. I'm hedging against my long position that could take a hit if this market pulls back because of conflict and this, that, third. Okay, yeah, so I get to make money in the aspects when the market is coming down, even though I may be losing a little bit on the back end of some of my long-term portfolios. No harm, no foul. Right? No harm, no foul. Take those newly found profits, wait to put it back into the market when you see like it's a good time to add on them positions, dollar cost average. Bada bing, bada bung. Wash, rinse, repeat. No harm, no foul. It's all about perspective. It's all about perspective. Right? It's all about perspective. Right. But anyway, so yeah. So Anya, you back in the building? You probably had the business coming in and out today. So I mean, yeah. So outside that, I guess I ain't got nothing really else unless y'all got some more to add to it. We got the future market getting ready to open up here at 6 o'clock. We've already saw what it did overnight. Of course, you guys were watching the futures. Again, the SP 500 futures, yesterday, the Dow, whatever. Boy, that thing was on a roller coaster, wasn't it? It went down initially, over 100 plus points, shot back up when the idea that Biden agreed to speak with Putin and Macron, the French president, prime minister, wherever he is, Macron, in a trilateral discussion with the OSCE organization. And that just turned the whole entire market, right? The market went ripping back up to the upside. Let me show you this. I mean, I'm sure y'all saw it like it is. We were just posting on this stuff all throughout the night. And it's weird too, because I've been injured for the last couple of days. I messed around and strained my back. Boy, I barely could stand up 90 degrees, boy, for the last day and a half. And I was sitting there, man, stuck on my little recliner, getting ice. I was getting in from my little armchair though. But today I feel a little bit better, so thankfully so. Kind of got that worked out. But it was just a nonstop drama over the past 24 hours, right? Even going back to Friday, of course, but definitely the last 24 hours. Look at this market here. Look what I'm saying here. Right? This is coming out of Friday, of course, into the futures market, just kind of pulling back, and then the market does what? It rallied. Hold up, this is on the what? That's the one day. Then it rallied back, right? We rallied back. Well, hold up, no, that's not the right one. I'm looking at the one day. I need to go to that hourly chart. Here we go. This the one. Sorry about that. This is us coming out of Friday, of course, into this, the ideal of the futures that opened up Sunday. Of course, we were pulling back, we gapped down, literally from Friday's futures market. We saw what was happening, Friday after hours. We started heading towards like 432, 431. Income, again, the ideal that Biden agreed to speak with Putin, Macron, whatever. The market just instantly big old green bullish engulfing candles out of nowhere. This shows you how fast these buy algos just kick on out of nowhere. All this money come out of nowhere, right? Tell me that ain't something crazy, right? Look at the size of those candles right there. Big old green candles come in. Markets instantly rips back up to the upside, erasing the gap down where we came from around 434, 432, 430, 435, excuse me, on the future side of the SPY. Bypasses that, shoots up, tests the resistance, what the intraday high was throughout the market, closing into the market Friday. Rips after hitting that point of resistance, played around with it a little bit here, U-shaped bottom, ripped and went higher. Got all the way up here towards like almost close to like 440 in the futures from a 431 drop, almost 10 points, guys, 10 points. And then the reality set in again that we kind of knew already for some of us. We're thinking like, yeah, this is just more window dressing. This is just trying to calm the markets. This is them actually maybe trying to do something different. I don't know. But nonetheless, after that, look at the succession of red candles that followed that. Down, 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 down. I mean, just no stop, right? You had one little baby stop right here where you had a little green candle in the midst of all that selling. After that, further back down. So you broke the gap down futures low here and went lower. Now we know here's where it gets interesting because everybody want to look at this and say, this is all relevant to Russia. No, it's not. People sometimes get lost in the sauce because they fail to realize there's a lot of other problems that's still happening in the market that is still weighing on the market. Again, interest rates, rate hikes, slower economy, issues surrounding American politics as a whole. The market got more problems than it can deal with right now. That's why I seem like one of them, if it sticks out more than the other, is like everything else just seems to sit on the back burner, right? As if COVID just went away, right? All of a sudden, a new COVID strain, another more contagious one, just popped up again on the weekend. We've been hearing that for the longest, right? Whether you for or against it, I'm just saying that stuff is still out there, right? So it's more than just Russia too. That's the point I want to keep relevant here. Don't get caught up in just the Russia conversation and forget that we still got a whole lot of problems to deal with. We still got a lot of problems, right? We still got a lot of problems. They still got 99 problems and thinking that we ain't got none. Well, that's a one shot. that's one. Yeah, we got plenty of problems to worry about right now. More than 99 of them to be exact. But anyway, the market just showing you that, look, it has bigger fish to fry. And these people really about that life and really feel like they was on even footing and got some, I don't know, maybe some advanced intel that you and I really, really, really can't, dig out, sniff out ourselves. You don't have that level of pullback into what we was already getting without, people feeling like, man, look, this stuff is, out of control, overblown. Let me just go and, take risk off at this point and, let the market do what they need to. And we sitting down here at a massive level of support, right? A massive level of support around 430. The markets are already in what we consider to be a big old head and shoulders pattern right now. Look at the weekly chart. Look at this on the weekly chart. Somebody look at that pattern there. What is that pattern there? What is that pattern there? I see a shoulder here, shoulder lean, shoulder lean. I got a neckline here. Well, basically, you want to say that's the neckline around this point here, 434 to 430. You got a head here, and you got another shoulder over here. Shoulder lean. Big old massive head and shoulder pattern. We have a death cross. I don't know if y'all been following this or not, but we actually do have a death cross on the NASDAQ. We have the 50-day moving average crossing below the 200 moving average in the NASDAQ. As of today, as of right now, is the death cross in the SPY. That's 100% bearish signal. Excuse me, that's in the NASDAQ, excuse me, in the NASDAQ. That's a bearish signal. And the SP 500 is close as well. It's close to having that same death cross. So somebody's selling. Somebody ain't so confident as before with all this just body dip. So I asked a question. If the broader market is taking these legs down and you asking yourself, okay, what are the bullish catalysts that are out there to turn the markets? What are they? That's the question. That's the biggest financial question you gotta ask yourself. What are all the bullish catalysts that can just turn the market and send it all the way back to all-time highs? You're gonna need a lot of things to work in your favor. I mean, they're gonna have to really, really line up until we get all that stuff priced into the market, baked out of the market, and then we can start thinking strategically how to what? Formulate the next move back, right? Or the recovery, so to speak. We already knew that this year was going to be a hard one. We came into it with already knowing that. We wasn't surprised. A lot of us wasn't surprised. We're like, yeah, let the market get cheap. Because we should have went all in on the COVID low. A lot of us were just being strategic like we always do. We didn't know that these people had an agenda. It seemed like it, right? You printed well over $7 trillion, and all that stuff, really, majority of that money went to the top 1%. Majority of it went to the top 1%. They were saving that bacon. This is their bullets and the bandages moment. That's what I'm talking about. You think they cared about COVID to that level? These people were loaded up in position to make money. They made so much money off that wealth heist. So where's all the outrage with that? Right? Again, it's weird, but we get it. We get it, and we're getting it. We're learning is the whole point of this. We're learning. With every moment, we're learning. We're observing more. We're broadening our perspectives. It's only going to lead to a what? In my opinion, something really great for the future. Right? For our future, it's only going to get better. Right? So there you go. You got a head and shoulders there, clear as day on the SP. So yeah, it's coming down for more than just Russia. And you will get bounces in between. Don't get it twisted. The market looking for a reason to rally, but that rally ain't the rally that it used to be back in the days when you just rally, rip up, just go up for no reason, just because, without having selling pressure coming right behind it. That's the difference. Now you're getting selling pressure per every big pop or rally. There's selling pressure coming right behind it, meaning they're selling the rips. They're selling the rips now. Because they're thinking, maybe they see something bigger down the road, something a little bit more ominous that they're afraid of, but they know it's coming. They know it's there. They know it's in the wing. It's behind that, that curtain, behind that little corner. It's there. So they're protecting themselves the best they can before it pops out. That's what I'm signaling in the markets. That's exactly what I'm signaling. I have no problem. If I'm more downside centric right now, then so be it. I'm going to eat. I've been riding this thing down from 478, 479, 480. I've been riding this market down. And I've been playing in between when it pops and rides back up. I'm playing both sides, right? I'm playing both sides right now. I have no problem doing so. Matter of fact, I enjoy doing so. I learned so much about this industry in doing so. The value of sentiment change and the psychology of people, capitulations and denials and opportunity and all those things. I'm learning a lot beyond the technicals and the fundamentals. Reading people. So again, this stuff is great, man. We're getting a crash course of how to be great every day, right? Right when we engage in these markets, and we ain't running from it. We run to it. All right, so that's what I see in the SP 500. So yeah, tonight again, futures open back up again at 6 p.m. They got beat down today, right? You got people over here, in the comment section on especially on investing, they go, everybody feeling some kind of way, right, about the whole issue with Russia, just the stock market, what as a whole, people putting out levels now. Somebody like at 427, right, on the futures. I think it's coming down. I mean, just go on and on and on and on and on, right? On and on and on. Everybody's trying to provide, again, perspective, right? See the rich and the Biden fabricate fake stuff to scam the public, right? It's all kind of stuff. People be going in. Yeah, Putin owns Ukraine at this point. Oh boy, yeah, it's going all night. It was like that last night. Tonight it's going to be just as wild, especially when the future market open back up, and see how what tonight's going to look like between our market, Asian market. Definitely the Russian market. The Russian market's got what pummeled. Again, the MOEX is one of their exchanges. I mean, that's a Moscow exchange. Man, that MOEX got crushed. Let's go over to the MOEX real quick, right? Show y'all this right here. They got the MOEX 10, but the MOEX Russia itself, that's the main one. It got crushed. It was down, I think over like 15 some odd percent, somewhere close to that at the low point, 12 to 15, somewhere around there. Look at this, crushed. See right here? Look at that wick. That wick had it all the way down here towards like 29 something. Got crushed today. So their stock market, their exchange is getting beat up. You think Putin was caring about the stock market? If that was like Joe Biden or Trump, you think, look, every 2 seconds they might be looking at the stock market screen and trying to deliver a conscious state or a conscious speech about reality. They seen that eyeball hustling the stock market. Russian market just hold my beer. Just dump 20% plus on the RTS. Another 12 to 15% intraday on the MOEX. And Putin ain't thinking about that market at one time because he focused on whatever. Hate, love, and indifferent to it. But at some point, yeah, somebody may come behind and buy these dips, but they markets got crushed. Crushed. Again, American markets maybe down 0.5%, 1% at the peak, 1.2%. These people going out fighting, meaning in American markets. Other markets just have just real nasty organic sell-offs. American markets, man, look, them jokers holding this thing up best they can. They trying to slow walk this thing down best they can. Or at least they feel like, okay, it's time to buy back, but everybody feel like there's no other alternative. That's the whole reason why the market ain't really just pulling back hard. And that could be a good thing. Especially if we got long-term growth portfolios out there, 401ks, Roth, TSPs. That's okay. It's okay. Right? I'm neither for nor against. I'm an opportunistic person. I trade what the market offers me. Void of, again, anything that can get in the way of distracting me from being able to make executive decisions with my money. That's the whole goal. Or for me, that is. So 300 on the Dow, 54 points on the S&P. I mean, crazy. Like $5.45 if you trade in the SP, the natural one, not the futures. Tech, dropped 266 on the future side. Small cap, forget about it. Still getting pummeled. And look at all this here. Who was the biggest loser? The tech sector. Why did the tech sector the biggest loser? Because it still got some of the most overbought, overvalued stocks still out there in the stock market. It was down there over 2%. Is everybody so excited about American markets like that? The tech sector would not be down as much. I'm just going to let the cat out the bag. Obviously, they dumping tech. They still dumping tech. The big names too. In the mix of all that, we saw what just happened to Roku last week. Forget about it. Crush Roku in the earnings. Man, I made some good money off Roku. Netflix, all them want the same. Spotify, the whole nine. Facebook. I mean, all of them getting hit. Apple, they all getting taken to the woodshed. Tesla, yeah, at some point they're gonna have bounces in between, but at some point it's still the dust haven't settled quite yet, apparently.
I don't know. War makes you think of blackouts and things like that. Things attached to the power grid and all of that.
That's a good way to look at it. Very good way to look at it. And for what it's worth, and again, in that regard, making sense of all of this that's what we're trying to do, on a daily basis, or whenever we have time to engage markets. So I mean, again, I enjoy this stuff. Is just it's weird, but over time, like we all know, with each passing day of observation and understanding how this stuff works, man, you guys, we all are going to be just, you're only going to get better. Is my point. You're only going to get better and better at being able to read, all this stuff that you're seeing on TV, the day-to-day stuff in your own backyards, meaning our country, whatever, even states, whatever, even your cities, whatever. It's all good information. It's all good intel. Again, as they say, hate, like, love it, or indifferent to it. Nonetheless, it's intel, right? Actionable intel if you really use it, to your benefit. So I look forward to tomorrow, right? I'm sitting there, like I said, my back about 80 some odd percent better. So I'll be in my little chair with my little back spine in the back, but I'm gonna be right here getting that money. I ain't got to worry about lifting them boxes tomorrow. I'm gonna be right here ready to get that bag. Got me some calls on limit order. Just in case the market try to rip. Got me some puts already in play that swung from Friday, deep in the money, letting them play out. Be ready to buy more if necessary. I'm just gonna trade with the market offers, and we'll deal with the chips, where they fall after the fact. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be some, some weird, maybe we may get some tomorrow as far as, when the markets open up, because that's when they're really gonna start feeling some kind of way. Right now, everybody at home, assessing all this, right? All the Wall Street bankers and the central banks, the hedge funds, the people that's in and around the White House, people that got invested in the market, they're somewhere looking like, man, boy, we can't get this market open fast enough because I need to figure out what's going to happen here. Some people are already underwater. They, if they open the market like right now, a lot of people be like really, really underwater. That's trying to swing the market, to the upside. So they got a decision to make. They got to hope for a hard bounce to come, and it may definitely happen. We've seen this market shrug off a lot of things, and rallied. Yet the energy is still to the downside, in my opinion, far as the bearish sentiment, technically, and what we're saying fundamentally. However, rallies do happen, even in bear markets. So I'll be ready. One way or the other, I will be ready. And I'm pretty sure you guys are, under that mindset too. And if not, we're gonna work towards making sure we help each other, make sense of it. That's what I love about this stuff. Again, we're really, really, again, it's community, right? It's the community aspect of this, right? That's exciting, right? So this just in too. I just kind of saw this here. I missed it earlier, but it says Biden is set to order sanctions on separatist regions of Ukraine after Putin decree. The UE vows additional measures. So they're going forward with that. Now, keep in mind, we still don't have what they call full outright war. Now, we know that there's, bullets being sprayed, some shelling that's happening in and around those regions in isolated areas is happening. There's some deaths out there, but they ain't really running across the tape like that. I mean, in the news, because they probably feel like they're insignificant because this already has started. Y'all saw the pictures, right? They actually got some, some artillery flying over there, but it ain't to the extent that we like, used to seeing, or a liken to what we know it would be like. But nonetheless, whatever the contingent that the Biden administration was looking to say, well, this would be the catalyst to make us put sanctions on Russia, then the fact that Putin decreed that Donbass is going to be a separatist, independent nation within that aspect of Ukraine or around Kiev, whatever, that is enough to go ahead. That was enough to go ahead and make the Biden administration apply those particular sanctions. Now, again, that's just from a news, but I have to dig a little deeper, make sure it's it's primary source, but it says as of now that he's set to order, right? Set to order, that's ambiguous, right? Set to order sanctions on separatist regions of Ukraine. We know what that separatist region is. That's basically going to be what? Donbass and the other little places called start with L, Luther saying or something like that. That's the little two independent nations that are, now going to be recognized by, the greater country of Russia by that decree of Putin. Right. So, they're going to put sanctions on those places. Right. It's crazy, right? So you had a press conference earlier. I didn't hear it, but I'll hear it when I get off, and I'll see what that's all about. But anyway, 6 o'clock is around the corner, right? It's creeping. I mean, I got my little vegan popcorn. All right, I'm gonna get out my little office area, get on my little recliner, right? And that's gonna be my drummer for the night. I know some people might be watching sports or whatever. I'm just gonna be watching these people, act the fool tonight in the stock market, futures. The the social media sites that deal with this stuff, the press conferences they give in it. What is Asia, saying, what is the European market saying, the German market, London session, all that stuff. That's gonna be my entertainment tonight. All right, this is comical. All right, I mean, you get to have fun and make money, not at the expense of somebody dime. But I'm saying have fun at watching all the the selective and fake outrage, and in terms of these administrations and all this stuff that the third, they all over the place. They are all over the place. All right, so that's all I got, guys. I just wanted to kind of come on and see what's going on. So far as news, I think you guys pretty much got all the latest stuff as of now. Again, there's another article just came out, from Reuters. Putin recognizes Ukraine rebel regions, send troops on what Moscow calls a peacekeeping mission. There we go. Right? Sends troops on what Moscow calls a peacekeeping mission. So that will be the that will be the reason why they're surrounding Ukraine still. It's for peacekeeping, bro. We just there to make sure Donbass is protected and Lutherland is protected, right? Could make this stuff up. While still shelling and bullets are being fired between each other in isolated areas. I mean, that's how it works, right? That's how this stuff works. So it says Putin told Russian Defense Ministry to deploy troops into 2 breakaway regions. See, that means they're still sending troops into or around those areas. The fact that they told them to send troops into those areas, keep in mind, before that, they were just setting up troops around the perimeter of Ukraine. That was the whole thing, right? This whole, threat of violence, threat of show of force. Now that they made that decree, this means that those areas are protected by Russian nationalists or Russian interests. So they're going to say, we get to go into those areas, Donbass and the Lutherland, whatever the place is called, and we're going to send troops there to protect the citizens in that area now. Now that they're 100% what? Russian citizens. Y'all see that? Putin told Russian Defense Ministry to deploy troops into those 2 breakaway regions to keep the peace in a decree issued shortly after he announced recognition of Russia-backed separatists there, drawing U.S. and European vows of new sanctions. There it is. It was not immediately clear the size of the force that Putin was dispatching when they would cross the border. See, when they would cross the border into Ukraine, and exactly what their mission would be. Now, Ukraine itself feeling some kind of way. You think they just gonna allow that after they've been shooting bullets at other places? Like, that's the part right there, right? That's the part right there gonna keep market still what? Skittish throughout the night too. Right? So again, they doing what they gonna do. Right? They doing what they gonna do. That's that. Look, civil war, hate, like, love it, indifferent to it. It's the price of doing business in those areas in their mind. Define Western warnings against such a move. Putin has announced in his decision in phone calls to leaders of Germany and France earlier that both whom voiced disappointment, the Kremlin said. And he had just scheduled a meeting to meet with Macron, Biden, right? The Chancellor of Germany and whatever. They just scheduled a meeting, right? To meet this Thursday. What's his name? Blinskin, whatever his name is, that one guy from America. Scheduled to meet with him this Thursday too. Look, they all banking on, thinking that, okay, anyway. So now that was a chess move by Putin. Basically, and it's to put it so simple, it was a chess move. Now he waited on them to make the next best move. He's already said in his press conference that what? He was prepared for the sanctions. He pretty much came out and said, whether he is or not, I don't know. But he said pretty much that he was prepared for the sanctions. So that means he was already understanding that the moves that he was going to make ahead of time, he was already playing chess in his mind. that we've already kind of layered ourselves, insulated ourselves for the potential of that of the sanctions that they're going to try to level on us. Again, whether it's sustainable or not, we don't know. So that says that, you know, he's not really caring about all the stuff that we're going to talk about, that they're going to talk about. He'll do it just for the what? The optics. But he already had his game plan of mind made up to a degree. That's what I read from that. Moscow actions may well torpedo a last-minute bid for a summit with the U.S. President Joe Biden to prevent Russia from invading Ukraine. The ruble extended its losses as Putin spoke, at one point sliding beyond 80 cents per dollar. So yeah, like I said, their currency is just getting slammed right now. Sister Monica spoke on that a little bit about the extent of how that works, and you know, wartime scenarios, even going back as far as, you know, the whole issue when Iraq was in war, how soldiers were literally buying Iraqi currency when it was, you know, dropping like that, for the return that it'll go back up at some point with, you know, American interests once they began to rebuild that nation. Couldn't make this stuff up. These are soldiers, American soldiers, you know, dealing with that. Right? Bro, it gets real in the field. It gets real in the field. So I don't know if you can say that's a ceasefire or peace fire. In my opinion, I think that's that just ratcheted up the tension. Why? Because he just stronghold that whole environment. In my opinion. Yeah, let the sanctions come. Okay. Yeah, let Ukraine. What Ukraine's going to do? What can they do? These soldiers are going into Ukraine to protect Russian interests, Donbass and that other little city or nation, wherever it is, what city, whatever. And it's like, yeah, we dare y'all to mess with us. Right? That's crazy, guys. Look, that's crazy. That is crazy. Anyway. So that's the latest. That's all I got. I think we didn't beat the drum, you know, beat that horse long enough. But that's the news of this, though. Of course, this is the whole conversation that we're talking about. We just want to hear about a perspective, right? You know, even though I had a typo there in my headline. Putin finally, right? Finally, I need to fix that K there. Speaks. Futures rattled, as well as the international markets, right? They definitely got rattled last night. Right? All the markets got rattled, not just American market. Europe was down, Asia was down, Korea was down, Japan was down, the German DAX was down, the FTSE 100 was down, Singapore market was beat up. I mean, everybody was taking it on the chin last night and into today, right? I mean, as you guys saw, right, when we looked at that feature chart there, you guys see that there, boy. I'm talking about it bloody. It is bloody across the board there. Everybody. The only thing was up was VIX, right? Because that's the inverse of all that. The VIX was up, dang near 4%. Right? Well, I'm definitely looking for that for a breakout. If the VIX get over that 30 handle, that's all I'm looking at too. Well, VIX get over 30, it's gonna rock. If it has more, tailwind behind it in that moment. Right? It can definitely rock and get out of control. Keep your eye on the VIX. That's all I can say. SP to ASX, right? The Australian or the Great Britain, whatever, Australian, whatever that is. SPX, I forgot what's called. That one is. The bank nifty, right? It was up a little bit, but everything else red across the board. South Africa, even the South African were getting it last night. But like, God, dog, but we ain't got nothing to do with this. They were taking it on the chin last night. Look at all that red, sea of red last night. Today, last night, hold on. So tomorrow, yeah, you see all that kind of red like that. The first thing come to your mind is, bro, we got to have a relief rally tomorrow. We got to bounce tomorrow. Maybe, but that's a big old capital M maybe, because this is what to be determined kind of news that got the market down, meaning it can further exacerbate and get more out of control, meaning markets can go even lower tomorrow, even though they will come in and try to find excuses why they need to rally. Hence, the markets are just, bro, we already kind of pulled back Friday and we went down a little bit more in the futures. Oh, we just oversold on the short-term time horizon. We got to bounce here. Whatever. We'll bounce if you can. I'll buy the calls, right? The bounce. And as soon as I see the weakness, coming back into the market, if they ain't gonna sustain it, I'm gonna turn around and buy puts and ride it back down. No harm, no foul. Bada bing, bada bung. Right? Bada bing, bada bung. All right. So that's all I got, guys. I ain't got nothing else, man. That, again, I know people, again, we don't want it, but a lot of people out there, including the White House and Europe. And I don't know if y'all saw that article too, that they said that pretty much it's almost obvious that the Joe Biden administration and the I guess the Crown Prince, what are they, Prince, Queen Elizabeth, Prince Charles, like their their scenarios or whatever, they're betting on this war. This article is coming out about that they're actually betting that this thing to happen. For what reason? Maybe it's because, again, it's a distraction to take the heat off what they got going on, but yeah, somebody pushing some buttons too. So are they betting, for war? Seems like it. They keep pushing out the button and putting out all the propaganda that it's going to happen. We got intel. The generals are saying that they are going to invade and this, that, and the third. Sound like they warmongering to me. So they betting for war. Sound like they betting for war. So if that's the case, then I got the perfect meme for them. Right? They sitting there playing around, right? Don't ask for it. You might get it. They sitting there planning for the profit off of war, right? The Biden administration and Queen Elizabeth.
So that's hilarious. The sun
Right?
coming out at 9 p.m.
Right. They sitting there trying to profit off this war right now. Like, mama, why the sun out at 9 p.m.? The sun? Boy, let me look out the window. Boy, that ain't no sun. You see them? That flame comes from underneath. Woo, 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 woo. That one there, the big one there, bro. Look, they sitting there playing around. I'm just saying, why the sun come out at 9 p.m.? Look, we just all, ask the ancestor universe, just don't let the sun come out at 9 p.m. I don't want to see what that look like. Right? I don't want to witness that myself. Right? They can do whatever. But yeah, I ain't ready for that one there. Woo, woo, woo. They playing around, boy. They playing around and get real in the field.
Yeah. Get your
All
candles.
I'm talking about, get me a little sackcloth. Get him a little sackcloth. Hey, get me a little flint so I can start a fire if it comes down to it. Get him my
Batteries.
Hey,
all of those things.
Y'all be wondering why I like to go fishing. Look at let something pop off. I'm gonna eat. I may eat a lot of vegetables and all that now, but if I had to,
I was trying to think how I could grow my own seafood.
Hey, put that hey, man, got me a little makeshift garden in the middle of the woods somewhere. Nobody joker don't even know about. Growing peas or something.
Yeah.
Look at here.
Remember went upstate to this nice farm, a little farm had a creek behind. It's like, wow, this is the life.
Right.
A creek behind your house.
That's what you see. That's a retirement scenario. Right. Definitely building towards, again, it's already pretty much stationary at this point. Next property gonna have, water behind it, because that's gonna be it, right? They said that's the final resting place, the upper room location. Hey, that's gonna be it because I want to be able to enjoy those things just like that too. Right?
I want a boathouse. I want a boathouse.
I mean, seriously, seriously, it's gonna definitely have lake behind it. If they'll maybe build one. I know a guy that just built one, a massive one though, a massive pond, and he's stocking it and all that stuff. But hey, that's your tranquility, right? That's that's what we're working for, to find peace in air, whatever way that we possibly feel like we can and want to. Right. So yeah, just hopefully the sun don't come out at 9 p.m. again. Right? We just hope that don't come out. So hopefully again, by this time tomorrow, I don't know. Again, I'm just me speculating. I'm just saying it because I know it sounds weird, but maybe they'll be doing it. That dance tomorrow. Maybe Ukraine and Russia be like that tomorrow. Maybe I don't know, or maybe not. Maybe them bullets start flying. Whatever. We'll see. So right now I'm just playing my position. So we'll let Biden sit there, act like he in control because he definitely ain't. Because Putin, like, bro, you done yet? Are you done or are you finished? Right? Are you done or are you finished? Because I already kind of got my mind exactly fixed on what I'm trying to accomplish. And so he definitely made a move on that today with that decree. The rest is just wait and see what happens. Right now, we got to wait to see if if Europe and America about their life and they try to hit up the little sanctions that Putin's already saying that he's waiting for. Whatever. Right.
How to be a dictator.
Right. It's finna get weird out there. So just above all things, let's just make sure we don't end up like this right here. We don't want to be holding on necessary bags. Don't y'all just jump out that window too soon tomorrow. Be very calculative with your decision making if you're going to engage the markets on these headlines. If not, stick to your thesis, right? If you've got long-term plans, roll with it, right? Whatever you got going, just be patient. You understand your risk profile. Don't just jump out there and collect bags for no reason, right? Right? Unless you're going to be, controlling the bag as opposed to collecting it, right? It's different, right? So just put that out there too. All right. So that's it, guys. I ain't got nothing else, guys. I'm going to get on out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Our little, intimate conversation. What's going on, brother? The snot ball in the building, right? The snot ball in the house. Peace, power, profit, over in the house, right? You got brother Mathis in the building. Brother. Yeah, see the family coming through. Right? Just look on the YouTube side. Other Rams are going in as always. He definitely lighting up the chat. I always say, brother Rams, you go in, but just make sure you keep it on topic as much as possible and keep the language in Baker. We got some young folk that watches here. All right, brothers. Sadai Samud in the building. Peace, power, profit to the fam. CFC, Samalato, Samalto. Excuse me, I didn't want to butcher that name. Samalito, I guess that's how they say it. Peace, power, profit to you as well. Our family CG3 came through today. Peace, power, profit, fam. All right, our family CG3, right? Fam. Right? Peace, power, profit to you as well. Of course, over Sunny, over Rich in the building, right? Brother Rich in the building. Right, dropping out. Brother Zane came through today as well. Brother Zane Montego in the building. Right, shout out to everybody, of course, that came through. Whether you were able to type or didn't, I family be humble in the house. Right, Oba Sean in the building. Peace, power, profit to you, Oba. Right, shout out to you as well. Over Sunline came through the building too. Peace, power, profit to you as well. Right, as always, the resident bouncer holding down the front door. Our family Anthony Smith came through. Peace, power, profit to him. Shout out to Manolo, right? Borgia, right? Came through, got on the mic early, right? Spoke about the crypto side of things and just, how he's protecting himself from equity markets, right? Debt markets as a whole, right? He's being very cautious within that. So again, people giving you perspective on what they're looking at too. So it's good that traders can, meet universally and just discuss money. That's what it's all about at the opening of the day. So excited for that. Oba Divine in the building. Shout out to him, came through as well. Brother Divine in the house. Shout out to him. Miss Monica Lamb came through and graced us on the panel. And she was in the chat. Shout out to Miss Lamb. Tri-City Visionaries in the building, holding it down, doing hospice work, doing, community building work, doing veteran, awareness work, the whole nine. Shout out to her, right? Everything she's got her hand in, right? Growing and building, right? Shaping the world, right? In the right way. Oba Marquise came through as well. Shout out to brother, right? Savvy, right? Savvy, right? Gives a brand, right? Shout out to brother Marquise as well, coming through. Over Chris as well. Brother Corey came through today as well for a while. He was in the back chat. Brother Corey Coleman, right? Y'all know him from the community too. Shout out to brother Corey, right? Brother Sonny, like I said, everybody, obviously, the awesome Miss Illustrious Angie that's still in the building. Shout out to her, right? Shout out to Oprah Brandon. Everybody, right? We try to get through everybody's name, right? Right, just putting it all out there. We just archiving out, perspectives going into the future, right? We appreciate everybody, man. Everybody, all the family that don't come through sometime, but we know we pay respect to them because they're part of the community. Again, the whole night, everybody on the back side of the Facebook group, right? Brother Dave, over Andre, brother Andre, man, we got to get Andre on to give a when he got time, because he busy always, but a breakdown on the business side of things. Of course, he owned a business, right? Apparel business, but he also has a very interesting investment thesis, right? Because he's been doing it, for a minute too, and again, investing for his dividend-based payout companies and like that. Just showing people there's so many layers to this that you can operate underneath as an investor. It's just not even funny, and a lot of people ain't even scratched the surface yet. So we always tell people again, it's a learning process, guys. It's so many ways you can make money in the markets and to fuel other endeavors, that and the third, and everybody's perspective in it is legendary. Why? Because people being able to prove it through their track record. And so I love when people come on. So I got to get our sister shut Dr. D back on again. We got to get her on. It's been a minute since we had her on, because she definitely gonna speak Forex side of things. She's a published author that mentored a lot of people, right? She definitely mentored some millionaires that came out of her program. So shout out to her. Sister Kelly, we yet to still get Sister Kelly on. We gotta get Sister Kelly on. We've been, saying we're gonna make it happen. We haven't yet, so that'll be great. So we'll look forward to doing that too. So shout out to Sister Kelly. Definitely got to get her in the building. And everybody, again, everybody, Brother Caesar, Brother Ghost, Brother Al, everybody, right? The whole fam, y'all know who you are. I'll be on for days giving these shout outs, right? Sound like I'm at the radio station. Power 105, right? But that's it, guys. So I ain't got nothing else. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Future Market getting ready to open up in the next 15 minutes. All right. I'm going to go upstairs and get me some coconut water and chill and get me some vegan popcorn and watch the fireworks this evening, right? And enjoy what's going to come one way or the other, right? So that's the lane for this evening. So we'll see what comes as the night unfolds. Now that everybody got a chance to dissect what Putin done, Putin made his first move, right? He said, let your first move be your best move. Well, Putin then made his move. Now it's up to who? America, Europe, and everybody else that got a problem, Ukraine, to make their next move. And what that will look like for equity markets. As we saw, they got beat down last night. Everybody got, beat down. Right? Even the Russian market, of course, right? So that will be interesting. All right, guys, so that's it. So we get out like we always do. Let's play a couple of tunes and we'll be out the door, guys. Peace for everybody. Peace.
Peace, Power.
I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence to let them in, chalk up their body, another one body, that's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes. Stay in your lane, how to stay on the go. I can play with the pros and act like a rookie so they overlook me. Then I double up again under their nose. None of them cold, they just got lucky but never adapted. So I'm to the one if it's coming to blows. My enemies cutting it close, I let them think that they got me, but what do you know? I had them beat before we ever spoke, I'm ready for smoke. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now they ain't go harder than me, they need a blade in a sheath, a shank in a piece, a crate full of heat, an army, a fleet, a tank and a jeep, a navy at sea, with ace a marine, an ace up their sleeve, a team of marines, a freak on a leash, a beast with an appetite, razor for teeth, and still they will lay at my feet. Boy, you got the wrong one. I gotta look over all of my publishing statements for Q1 as soon as the song's done. I gotta call up my mama and tell her I made it as soon as my log's done. I gotta read all my trade publications and sip my tea till it is all done. I think it's all fun. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence to let them in, chalk up their body, another one body, that's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes.
Calm down before you stress up the groove. The energy a little different when the blessings accrue. Ain't who you talking to, just know I ain't no regular fool. Could be anything in the world, but I can never be you. Because I stand tall like I'm on my tiptoes. Baby, you think a little too small, I got big goals. Baby, ain't where the money at, look, I just need the info. Pronto, I go and get it and split it with my kinfolk daily. And I'm the type of I might change my number on you. Yeah, that's how you react when people took a slumber on you. Pretty brown skin, baby, I can see the summer on you. You see all the bread, and I know it make you wonder, don't you, don't you, don't you? I ain't surprised at all. Seen them rise and fall. Went up the mountain, it wasn't hard to climb at all. At the top, I found some relief. I finally got some peace. Carry on, but please don't mess up the mood. Yeah, I worked too hard for it. No, I need it, beat it, before you mess up the mood. Yeah, ooh, I worked too hard for it, and I need it, so please don't mess up the mood. Don't mess up the mood. Don't mess up the mood. Yeah, I work too hard for it. Yeah, don't mess up the mood. Oh, it's so crucial, I gotta keep it. It's in the air, it's everywhere. No, it's not a secret, and I bet they didn't think that I'd ever get it. Everything you've done, I did it. The life you're dreaming, I live it, and I'm coming in high. You better get out the kitchen. Yeah, I could make a hit on whatever you pitching. Baby, let me fill up whatever you missing. Or you like it up at the top, it's a better view, isn't it? I'm not surprised at all, no it. Hey, what you need? Come on, just pay the fee, I supply it all. Went up the mountain and it wasn't hard to climb at all. At the top I found some relief, you see, so please don't mess up the mood. Yeah, I worked too hard for it. No, I need it, beat it, before you mess up the mood. Alright, ooh, I worked too hard for it. So please don't mess up the mood. Don't mess up the mood. Don't mess up the mood. Yeah, oh come on. I work too hard for it. Yeah, don't mess up the mood.
The bar raising, we keep moving it up. Ain't no surprises here, they knew it was us. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. I got faith restored, why you pushing the brakes? I ain't full of myself, boy, I'm full of mistakes. I came from humble and roots, I'm here to stand and deliver. Had no one gassing me up, except the man in the mirror. I used to work on my handles, and now it's handles of liquor. I write these songs in a dark room, the candle will flicker. I stay practicing heavy, for when the game's on the line. It's like over and over, I run the plays in my mind. I'm a psycho, I'm taking my time. Rushing perfection is a dangerous crime. You gotta give it and take it. That's what you do till you make it. I had to roll with the punches and take the hits from the flagrants. I'm saying the bar raising, we keep moving it up. And no surprises here, they knew it was us. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. An off game don't mean I'm losing my touch. And no excuses, I ain't using a crutch. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. I was falling, had me stalling. I was way down, now I'm balling. I done came up, and I called it. I done came in the clutch with the game on the line, I know. I operate from a higher place. Wait, some decisions don't dry erase. I'm doing what I can to fuel the flame like a fireplace. To make a bunch of money, buy my mama a fireplace. We make incredible songs to celebrate and get mad lit. Once upon a time in Hollywood, I'm like Brad Pitt. My homies say I live a life, yeah, just a tad bit. Learning how to move in this rap shit. I told them that the bar raising, we keep moving it up. And no surprises here, they knew it was us. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. An off game don't mean I'm losing my touch. And no excuses, I ain't using a crutch. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. I done came up, and I called it. I done came in the clutch with the game on the line, I know.
Everything is twofold. What's joy is pain on the other hand. And what happens when the one that you love is the main cause of your suffering? I need you like I need air to breathe. I need you to save me.
Yeah. Ow! Yeah. Y'all think too small, I got big dreams. You just starting, I'm way ahead at the end scenes. Started reading and dodging all of the quick schemes. Money like your Spotify, boy, I got 10 streams. And I'm still looking for more. My people, they got a soar. I'm putting that on the Lord. Ain't accepting, ignore, just kicking down all the doors. Guarantee you, boy, if I ask for it, it's gotta be real big. I gotta make it just for my kids and for their kids' kids. That's wealth years and years. Promise my brother soon as he out and finish this bid, we finna do it bigger than anybody ever did. The odds is real big. Job that's real big. Satan trying a little, my God is real big. Stayed up on the grind on the cards is real big. I gotta do it big. The only way that I can live. And I promise I'm trying to. Before you count me out, homie, let me remind you. They was blocking the shine, now I think it's my time to. Counting them dollar signs like lights, they'll blind you. Let me rewind to back when I was broke and I couldn't acquire 2 cents. And now I got 2 rents. They was sleeping on me, homie, must have got too big. Call my phone, I be like, who this? Damn right, hell yeah, I'm brand new. Smell like can too. I'm fresh forever like canned food. Try and tell me what I can't do. I wanna see the world, my vision on Shamu. That mean I got goals that's real big, foes that's real big. Your offer too little, sorry, my soul is real big. Coming into the ring with blows that's real big. I gotta do it big, that's the only way I can live. I gotta do it big. I gotta do it big. I gotta do it big. Gotta do it big, that's the only way to live. Gotta do it big. I gotta do it big. I gotta do it big. Gotta do it big. That's the only way to live. Come on. Yeah, come on.
All right, guys. And there is your futures market right there. I said, I run these videos up to the point where I think the future market opened up and it was perfectly timed, right? Right at 6 o'clock here. Well, 6:02. That's what your futures market looked like right here, guys. So as you see, the future markets have taken another leg lower. Now keep in mind, we ended yesterday, as you saw, the numbers were up there. Like we had 300 points down on the Dow futures, 54 points on the S&P. What was like near what was like a 190 something on the tech sector. I forgot how many on the small cap. Another 154 points on the Dow, totaling now roughly about 460 some odd points in the last 24 hours on the Dow. Same with the S&P, another 20 point handle down. That's like 70 plus points in the S&P 500 there, hitting the lower so far about 426 in the futures on the SPY here. And tech, again, is back to what it's been doing. It's the biggest loser so far after hours besides that small cap. Of course, we know tech is in trouble because they've actually already, relinquished that of a death cross, which is a bearish signal for them. So, yeah, the market is picking up right back where it left off with the latest turn of events and news that's happening out of Russia with Putin here, pretty much putting into decree, declaring that the city of Donbass and Lugansk, I'm butchering that name, the other little city, but they are now independent states inside of Ukraine that are owned and belonging to Russia. Since then, Russia has sent troops into these two political regions now, or these two political areas that are inside of Ukraine borders to protect those now Russian citizens, to protect those now deemed by decree Russian citizens. That in itself is violating all rules of infraction because now you've asserted yourself into another country's border with hate, like, love, and indifferent to it. That's problematic. Because it's now chumping the person. It's pretty much saying, I dare you to mess with these people. I dare you to mess with my troops that are going there to protect these new citizens of Russia. So, yeah, this could get ugly, or it may not. Who knows? We already know that Europe and America is looking to apply sanctions. They've already said it since since Putin has made that decree nationally over the television, I should say. We've yet to hear from Joe Biden. Joe Biden somewhere trying to collect his thoughts, maybe get a steroid shot so he can stay up long enough and be coherent enough to deliver a message. I don't know. Again, shots fired. I'm just going to call it like it is. The guy's incompetent, if you ask me. So we've yet to hear from Joe Biden outside of the threats that he's already made for us, the sanction scenario. So the night is still young. The market is all over the place. Again, additional 100 plus, near 200 plus points since last night's, flogging of the markets, and we are right back lower than where we closed at, around about 429, somewhere around there on the S&P 500 or the U.S. futures or the U.S. 50 or 500, futures market. So that's what we have to look forward to going into the rest of the night. Like I said, I got my vegan popcorn. I'm about to just sit back and just watch all the fireworks tonight and listen to all the commentary, listen to all the armchair analysts. All right, from a war side to the financial side, it's going to be a hot mess this evening. Again, I got one open option position, which is the options. I have a put. I have the 440 strike puts expiring tomorrow that I swung into today. Closed out a lot of them Friday. Made good money Friday. Of course, closed out today. Maybe a little over like $3,400 in profit from Friday. Cleaned up the market on Thursday. We did really well on Thursday too. I think we made a little over $1,700 in profit too. So just those 2 days alone, well over, up near that $500 region, $5,000 region. Just those 2 days alone, and that's not even counting what we did early in the week. So this week is no different. We're just going to play with the market offers. We're going to stay patient. We're going to let the market unfold, however it may be, not trying to get ahead of ourselves, and we'll just let the chips fall as they may. Simple as that. Right. So I hope you guys, again, are positioned well and planning properly, and we'll see what happens. So again, as I like to say, as I've always said, you guys know some of my trademark slogans, right? Choose well, trade safe, and stay green, my friends. That's the narrative here. Choose well, then trade safe, and then possibly in the end, you will end up being green in the end. All right, so that's all I got, guys. So peace, power, profit. Thank y'all for coming through. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, everybody. Peace.